Hey everyone, this is me Avidivedi, and if you are listening me, we are going to have this conversation about metaverses and everything related to metaverses. So yeah, let's start joining. I can see there are plenty of people have already joined in the conversation, and yeah, come up, and we're gonna talk about your knowledge about Meta. If you had any experiences about metaverses and everything, and if you want to share any experiences, also, would love to announce that I also have a job platform which basically provides you job related to virtual reality, augmented reality, metaverses, NFTs, and all kind of jobs are available on our job platform which we have created. So yeah, I can see Abhishek here. Hi Abhishek, brother. How are you? Abhishek, can you hear me?
Just give me a second. I'll get back.
Okay, Abhishek, I'm waiting for you. Okay, so let me initiate the session. So, as I was talking about, I'm somebody who's working in virtual reality, augmented reality for past 8 years. And if you have any questions regarding virtual reality, augmented reality, metaverses, what is meta, and everything, please come up, ask your questions, and we'll discuss a lot of things. As I already said, we also have a platform where we provide jobs to virtual reality and augmented reality. If, for example, you are looking for a career switch to VR and AR, connect to us. We have the training programs as well as the job opportunities and job portal where you can find extra specific jobs. Yeah, so we have Adil here. Hi, Adil. How are you?
Hi, how are you? I'm fine.
Yeah, Adil, would love to know about you and if you have any experiences with virtual reality, augmented reality. What do you think about metaverses in general? Adil, you here? I think Adil dropped for some issue. We'll move to Trinath. Hi, Trinath. You there?
Yeah, hi Avi. So actually, I've joined this room, and I don't know what exactly is metaverse. So can you just tell me what
Of
exactly
course.
is this?
Yep.
I'm
So
really sorry, I don't know about this.
no worries, Srinath. Would be awesome to explain. And of course, since this is the first conversation I'm taking, it is we meant to explain it, right? So, okay, so metaverses, recently you have heard about that there's a company, Facebook, which is, of course, the biggest social media company. And now they have converted, they pivoted their part to something into something called metaverses. Uh, Now they have changed even their company name as Meta, and metaverses is basically foreshadowing the future of virtual reality and augmented reality. There could be plenty of use cases which can be built around. Facebook is into virtual reality and augmented reality for a long amount of time. For example, they acquired this company in 2016, which is Oculus, and then they have this all kind of headsets. They are heavily subsidizing the virtual reality headsets right now. They have built a metaverse platform which is called Horizon. Metaverses are basically the social way into virtual reality. So, like, you're gonna have your digital avatar, which is the virtual representation of your how you look, and then with this avatar, you enter the virtual space. So, within virtual reality, you connect to people, you can talk to them about businesses, you can talk to them about all kind of things. You can perform a lot of things. You can learn how to fly a helicopter inside virtual reality, and it would be as cool as real as the original one. So yeah, there are plenty of possibilities, opportunities which are opening up. Facebook is not the only company which is into it. Of course, Microsoft has something called Mesh. So Mesh is their version of Metaverse. Then there is Nvidia, which has something called Omniverse, which is their version of metaverses. So there could be multiple version of these metaverses. And for now, you can think of metaverses as, for example, a communication platform or maybe a messenger. You must be more familiar with messengers. So let's say there are all kind of messengers like Facebook, then there is LinkedIn, then there is WhatsApp. On WhatsApp you have all your family and friends only, then on LinkedIn you have all your business contacts only, then on Facebook you have those random strangers which send creepy messages, right? So all the messengers have certain kind of theme, and based on those themes there are all kind of people which you connect to, all kind of conversation that leads into. Similarly, in the metaverses there could be multiple metaverses within the one virtual reality space, and these metaverses going to have a similar kind of theme, similar kind of group which you interact to, like this clubhouse, but in virtual reality, in 3D, and in more interactive space you will be able to interact naturally. So that is overall what metaverse picture looks like right now. So Trinath, are you aware of some of the stuff which I said?
Yeah, yes. Thank you, Avi, for letting me know. That sounds so interesting. This thing, but I've never heard of this one before. But I just wanted to know, like, how do we access these metaverses?
Awesome. So right now, if you want to access, there are plenty of ways you can do that. So there is a metaverse called Decentraland, which is basically, if you are aware of cryptocurrencies and everything, they have a way to visualize your cryptocurrency in form of lands. So they have, in the Decentraland, you have decentralized lands which you can own, and you can decorate your land in several ways, which raises the value of your land and everything. Then there are other metaverses. For example, ArtSpace VR is one social platform, one metaverse where you connect and do all kind of sessions. You can connect in that metaverse using your web browser, using a virtual reality headset, or maybe even an Android phone. So all this kind of capability is there. You can even, Fortnite is one of the metaverse, you can say, sort of a gaming metaverse in which you can get, and a lot of events are even happening inside Fortnite. If you have heard of the Ariana Grande event or the Travis Scott event, so these kind of events are being happening in these metaverses. And yeah, right now there is a lot of NFT boom, and there are plenty of ways to connect these NFTs to metaverses, so that you can own the NFTs and you can sort of wear your NFTs and everything, right?
Okay, thank you, Avi. So I'll try checking out all of them, just at least some of them.
Yeah, you must start checking with the Altspace VR, that is now owned by Altspace VR is now owned by Microsoft, and it's a very uh, powerful tool to do all kind of sessions. So yeah, next I'll move to Abhishek. Abhishek, you are back. We were waiting for you.
Yes. Yeah, after quite a while. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, you were asking something. Yeah.
Yeah, like actually, I've been following the news a lot lately around this entire AR conversation. And Oppo, as almost every year, they've released another headset this year. Have you seen it yet?
Yeah, Oppo Air, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, well, what are your views on that?
Yeah, Oppo Air is a different kind of category in headsets. So there are right now two kind of headsets which are being popular. One are those heavy machines which you put on your head, which is like a complete computer sitting on your head, right? And another one is the lightweight version, which is like you can even wear when you are outside. So Oppo is sort of putting steps in that segment. There are plenty of competitors in that segment, starting from Google Lens to, then there is Ray-Bans glasses. However, Oppo, what's good with Spectacle, Snapchat, and what Oppo makes Oppo really good is that they also have a basic display. It is a mono color display, mostly of green color, but you can display some sort of basic messages and images, which makes you feel more connected even when you are traveling, and you can show some certain kind of locations, turns, and everything, navigation. So yeah, that's kind of a utility.
Yeah, well, actually, I feel that the device that they've designed is very limiting of the possibilities that could have been. Because they're using the Snapdragon Wear 4100. As good as it may be for a portable and small size processor, the fabrication just isn't enough for it to carry out major programs, right? Like,
Yeah,
don't you think,
that
like,
is absolutely
the
true. And the reason why they are using a small processor is that the target audience or the target user for that particular headset is very different. So let's say if I just upscale the processor, then I also have to support the power consumption by the processors. You have to upscale the battery. When you upscale the battery, then there is the weight of the entire headsets raises, and then you have to manage that. So of course, the kind of segment they are targeting, they want it to be used as a wearable which you can wear anytime. So that's why they are doing a low processor.
Well, like of the market research that I've done, I can see a lot of business professionals who would be interested in something like this. And one thing that I've realized is that they would not want to limit the amount of information that can be shown to just what is being shown right now. Because I've seen the zero point 0.5 EC projector that they're using. It's very feeble, I would say, and it is visible from the other side as well. So the person on the other side can see what you're seeing.
Yeah, I'm
Don't you think it
aware
would
of
just
this.
be
Yeah.
better to have like well, as I would envision, I'm not a designer per se, but as I would envision it is like something like spectacles, like maybe getting a partnership, maybe a AR headset company can have a partnership with some company like Ray-Ban or something, and one side, like as earphones are today, most earphones, most well, wireless earphones have one side as just the battery and the other side is just for processing. You think that can be a possible venture?
Yeah, and in fact, you are very correct about that. Ray-Ban is the fashion product, and recently Facebook did this kind of partnership with Ray-Ban, and they come up with the Ray-Ban glasses, which can share stories on Facebook. So it's more like an action camera which can shoot 30-second videos and everything, and which can click instant pictures while you are wearing them. But it does not have any kind of display, and it's sort of action camera segment, which its main competitor is going to be GoPro and not the not the actual virtual reality headsets, right?
Yeah, true. Like, have you watched the movie Kingsman?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
And have you seen the kind of like eyewear that they're using in the movie?
Well,
Although it is
I
fictional,
almost
but
forget that particular scene which you are gonna talk about, but yeah.
like it's almost throughout the movie, the specs that XZ wears at all times, the one designed by Merlin, uh, you can almost see the way they have utilized the space. Although it is fictional, but it can be brought into reality. Having thicker, I would say, bezels on your specs, like that gives you a lot of space to put a lot of things. And space real estate is something that really needs to be in focus when we're talking about wearable devices with power, right?
That is absolutely true. So have you checked the GeoGlass?
Yes, I have, but like the one problem that I have with almost every AR headset out in the market right now is the fact that they are not compatible very well with the devices. Like that's something that I'm hoping from Apple to do, because Apple always has this ecosystem that it wants to create. So if Apple can just strike the right balance and make it connect to an iPhone,
Yeah,
and just
for
like what
a lot
they've
of
done with their watches.
headsets, including GeoGlass, they are mostly standalone devices. So, in what ways you are talking about pairing or compatibility with the phones?
Like what I mean here is that like how smartwatches initially started off. Earlier smartwatches weren't supposed to be individually powerful devices. If you
Right.
look at the Apple Watch 1, it wasn't very powerful and it couldn't do a lot without the iPhone, right? Now although it has become a lot more powerful and a lot more useful, but I actually see that that is a better way, because this way you have more real estate to put in your battery, you have more play, you have more space to put in a better projector, and the entire power, the entire processing power that's needed comes directly from your device, your smartphone or something, because everyone has a smartphone and that has a very good process, and this would be a very small task. So if you can view your notifications, someone's calling, you can just pick up a call, or maybe just click up, just and just read an article while sitting somewhere without taking out your phone. That can be something that can be something that can be looked forward to.
Well, yeah, I completely got your point. So I would still recommend you checking the GeoGlass. Check their website. They have this standalone headset, which coming up in a most probably affordable range, and that is something which you can wear easily on eyes, and it's not looking bulky at all. And it comes with a compute unit so that you can carry it with you as well. So I think that is a pretty good product. I'm looking forward at how the mass adoption happens with that particular. I'm looking for two headsets mainly, the GeoGlass and all. You already spoke about the Apple one because Apple, everybody gonna copy that particular product after the Apple comes up. Every Chinese competitor gonna make up something into virtual reality after the Apple comes, and Geo because that is directly related to the Indian market and Indian consumption. They have already disrupted the 4G network and kind of ruled it, and wanna see that how they're gonna manage this connectivity with the virtual reality of India.
Well, actually, if I'm being honest with you, of the market research and the demographic research that I've done for AR headsets and VR headsets, I honestly don't think that Geo would be the right company, because Geo is the kind of company who tries to minimize the prices and often takes a hit on technology, and it has to make a lot of compromises. And that's not something that you want, because the market base for this, as I've said earlier, it's for professional working class. It's only for the top tier, because this is a new technology. It's novel. No one really knows a lot about it, and educating people about this is going to be really hard. Like, as we have seen, even in this room, where it's literally metaverse madness. That's literally the topic of this room. And still, a lot of people don't know what metaverse is. So, if we can move in this direction, forget the price. Don't try to reduce the price, because this is something that improves your efficiency, because you don't have to take your phone out and again. This helps people who are on a dopamine diet, like on a dopamine detox. And this also helps, like, you can't really use this as a regular it's not for a regular everyday joe. It's supposed to be for a specific target niche, a specific target audience, rather
Yeah,
than
well,
just distributing it among everyone.
believe me, when it comes to GeoGlass, they are doing the top-notch innovation, and they're gonna come up with a beautiful product. And I'm not saying it because I already know all the team which is working on this, but I'm saying because I truly have the kind of faith on the team. I understand the kind of innovation they are doing, and it is not something that every other company. This is something that every other company has struggled with, and they are probably delivering that kind of experience. So I'm very hopeful, and I do understand how challenging it is to put it in a price point at which they're going to target. And I'm going to tell you, they're going to heavily subsidize it, because building a product in that kind of range is really not possible, and they are building a futuristic and beautiful product. I have not seen, but I have worked on the product. I know what they are building.
Yes, like, I completely understand your point here, and I actually have very high regards for Geo and their entire business model and their procedure and their way of doing things. My only problem is that the kind of, well, you cannot change psychology. Consumer psychology has set a few names, and it has set a few tags on companies, okay? And you don't really expect something very premium to come out of a Geo box. You always expect something that's going to be cheap, and that's something that's just going to get your work done. And I'm not saying this just because I feel so. I've done the market research, I've done the, like, questionnaire and everything, and I've understood this, that a lot of people have a rather like, this is a cheap company kind of, well, I would say a notation towards Geo. So if Geo really wants to price it high and really wants to make a good premium product, well, Reliance will have to use a different name for the product, not as Geo glasses. Maybe creating another sub brand from their Google partnership, perhaps, or maybe
Yeah,
their
I think
Nvidia
they have a
partnership.
pretty mature marketing team for this, so I'll rather leave it on them. So one more thing about GeoGlass, I think the kind of segment they are working on. So if you talk about to me what kind of problems and what kind of people, what kind of sort of enabler of virtual reality I'm dealing with right now in India, and what kind of comments I get on the products right now is related to actually the prices. Of course, the price point because of Facebook is literally low. It's under 40,000. You're gonna get the best headset, but still people are comparing it somehow that it is expensive. I don't know why. It's even cheaper than most of the phones you guys use, but still. So I believe, yeah, if Geo can subsidize the sort of pricing and everything, it's definitely gonna worth it. And I'm really sure that their marketing team gonna think about what you just said, and they are pretty mature people. I have no doubts about their branding and or anything.
Well, true that, Avi, but the only thing that I've been trying to say is that, like, try not to make it cheap. Try to make it a premium product. That's the whole point. See, it's not always about the number of audience that you can get, the amount of customers you can get. Sometimes it's also about the quality of audience you can get. And
Hmm.
that is something that really needs to be worked on.
It's a different game which Geo kind of player is gonna playing. It's a very different game. It's not about selling a premium product. It's about selling affordable product and solving they are basically not doing it because they want to sell. They want to solve a problem which is right now the connectivity to the virtual reality. If you do any survey, the amount of people aware about virtual reality and virtual reality in India is far less in percentage in compared to Canada or US, where people are literally gifting everybody in families the virtual reality headset for Christmas. So, of course, if somebody can solve this problem, I believe that's Geo, and they are doing it pretty well. There are other companies which are doing fantastic job in India in premium sections as well, like Lens and everybody. There is Question What's Real, there is Lens, there is I have a friend who's building one headsets, and yeah, so there are plenty of good people who are in this particular. I can see Sai Teja here. He can tell you some more things about what's happening in the virtual reality industry. So yeah, Joshman is here. He can tell you about what's happening in the NFT industry. So yeah, let's continue the conversation. I have Mohit as well. Hi Mohit, how are you?
Yeah, hi Avi, how are you? I'm fine.
I would love to know what are your experiences about virtual
I
reality.
I have certain questions regarding
Sure,
metaverse.
sure, sure.
So my question is like how metaverse gonna impact healthcare industry? Means the doctor and patient relation. Like, are we gonna eradicate the clinic visit in next 5 or 10 years from now? Are you getting my point?
Well, that is sort of my favorite question because healthcare virtual reality or healthcare XR we call it is been a very crucial part of virtual reality industry, and it's something which is being worked upon for so many years, for more than 2 decades. So I'll talk to you. I have worked as a medical imaging scientist in a company called Immersive Touch. They guys are doing one of the most advanced simulations when it comes to virtual reality and augmented reality. And of course, here the kind of work we were doing, our uh, our thought was not to replace sort of clinic visits or anything. Our aim was to sort of give doctors more control over the surgeries, or being able to help the doctors in practicing the surgeries before going to the actual surgery. So what we were doing is basically we were taking the CTs and MRIs, and sort of we wrote an algorithm to convert that into actual patient data, actual patient geometry, and then doctor can work upon that body as many times as he want, so that he can sort of practice all the ways he want to reach to particular problem in before going to actual surgery. So that is the kind of work we were doing. And of course there are so many companies, and so many companies have recently started working into healthcare XR as well. And I see this particular field growing so huge. And it is, if you talk about industrial use cases, the healthcare XR is huge. It is almost 71% of entire business side of the B2B businesses of the industry right now.
Okay, yeah, true. We have interacted regarding immersive technology prior also. I have seen their website. They are pretty good. I mean, impressive.
Yeah, that's really impressive. And
Yeah.
of course, there are some kind of use cases which sort of allows you to replace or basically reduce the number of clinic visits you do. For example, there are a lot of therapies which are being happened that could be done better in virtual reality, or that could be completely done within virtual reality with the help of AI assistance or something. So I just yesterday having a conversation in the metaverse. There is a VR ARA community. They were having a session called Metaverse, and it is a sort of yearly summit which they were having. I had communicated to a person who was working on these sort of therapies only, and he had 7 to 8 doctors with him working right now in his team. Uh, and they were preparing these therapies for people to sort of reduce their visits and provide them the quality health. So you can do all kind of therapies which are regarding to ophthalmology, regarding to physiotherapy within virtual reality. So I had a really good conversation with him, and yeah, we are probably looking forward to collaborate in future as well on that particular project.
Okay, nice. And will there be monopoly of Facebook like in metaverse?
Definitely, Facebook is gonna own a big chunk of the metaverse pie. That is for sure, because the amount of data they have about people already, the amount of for them it is like a natural progression. So they don't have to ask you to actually shift you into metaverses. They can just do it right away, right? So sort of they have all the kind of channels what we call when we do marketing. They have access to all the channels. They have no amount of marketing budget, as you can say, because they own all the channels. So they for them it is definitely a natural progression towards from social media to virtual reality social media, or you can say the metaverses. For them it is really easy compared to any other competitor which is going to come in, including Microsoft and everyone.
So there will be dictatorship by them then.
Not at all. So they are not only. It is already something which is democratized. There's no sort of need to dictatorship. So right now, as you know that there could be all kind of themes. For example, of course, Facebook has the biggest social media network, but then there is Telegram, then there is all kind of other open source platforms and everything, which are already running in parallel, and they all have some kind of themes related to it. For example, if you need to talk to a business communication, you go to LinkedIn, or if you want to, let's say, have some political conversation, you go to Twitter. So similarly, there's not there can be a monopoly, you can say, but there will not be just one player. It is sort of democratized. Everybody owns the metaverse, and everybody will build something for it.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for all the info.
Yeah, I can see Sai Teja there. Hi Sai, wanna come up? I'm sort of inviting you guys. Come on, we're gonna talk about a lot of things. I can see Ojasvi there. I can see a lot of good people there. Yeah, come up and we'll share. Yeah, I can see Kush here. Hi Kush, how are you?
Hello, Avi. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing really good. So would love to know what to think
Yeah,
about metaverses,
actually,
and are you aware of
yeah,
the
yeah,
recent hype? Yeah.
yeah. So actually, my profile is new, so I haven't typed much. I lost my old ID to a different number. So yeah, I have one question. Could you help me out?
Yeah, please.
So metaverse is basically a place that is saying that will be able to help us trade through NFTs and bitcoins and cryptocurrency and sort. All right. So my question is, NFTs are technically supposed to be unique, right? So how are we supposed to protect them? Like there are been a lot of cases of privacy. Like what steps would metaverse take that would help us protect NFTs and stuff?
Hmm. So I wanted to do this. Okay, so NFTs, we need to understand what NFTs are basically. So NFTs, let's things that cannot be interchanged without because they have different values. They might look same, but they could have different. For example, let's assume we both have 500 rupee note, and I have 500 rupee note, you have 500 rupee note, and we both can interchange this note, right? And it doesn't really matter anything because they both have the 500 rupee value, right? But next day I meet Elon Musk and I take his signature on my 500 rupee note. Now, if you tell me that exchange this 500 rupee note for your 500 rupee note which does not have that signature, I would say no, I don't want to do that because I have the my idol Elon Musk signature. So now my note become non-fungible. And how do I track particular this note, that what is the current value of this non fungible token, not fungible item, and what is the current value of it? How can I? Who's the real owner of it? So there, NFT comes into the picture. So yeah, Subhash, I'll talk to you once again. So there, NFT comes into picture. Now NFTs are sort of ways to track these non-fungible items. So let's say now my Elon Musk note has the value more than 500 that I know, and if somebody comes to me and say I'll offer you 5 lakh rupees, which is 500,000 rupees, so I'll say that no, I don't want to sell because I feel the value is even more. Then somebody says okay, I'll give you 10 lakh rupees. Then I say okay, fine, it's just a signature, I can sell it. And then I give it for 10 lakh rupees. I exchange the note. Now that guy is the owner, right? So for me, the value was above 5 lakh but lower than 10 lakh. So how do I actually control this value, and how do I actually make sure that ownership remains to somebody? So for that, these NFTs are a beautiful concepts which come into picture to sort of track and manage these item values which are non-fungible, which means you cannot easily decide what could be the value, and it's totally based on the hype, based on everything, right? For example, Elon Musk died someday. Everybody dies, right? Let's say if Elon Musk dies on that particular day, the guy who bought the Elon Musk value note, that's going to be even much more higher in pricing, right? Because the hype cycle gonna work like that. So now that particular guy gonna sell the note for a million even. So in that particular case, how do we track this as a non-fungible token? You can basically create NFTs of that particular note, take a picture and create an NFT. And now these token, this physical note and that note is sort of connected. But the way how NFT work is basically you just don't have the very token, the very picture, the digital picture. You also have sort of an address number for that particular picture. So think of this address number as a locker. So now you have this 500 rupee digital picture in a locker, and your 500 rupee note with Elon Musk signature have no value right now alone. The locker number plus your digital asset combined has this value. So whatever the value it is, 1 million or whatever, it is of combined property, the locker number as well as the digital property. So if you even steal the digital property, if you just simply right click and download it or take a snapshot and try to sell it, it's not going to work because that property alone does not have any value at all. It's just zero. You have to just start over. And the locker number, which is the very registration number of that particular NFT, combined has the value, and that cannot be changed, that cannot be sort of transferred. There is only one locker number assigned to that one product which is already in place. So that's how it's being secured, and that's how NFTs sort of work. I hope I tried to explain it, but I hope it
Yeah,
works.
yeah, yeah. No, actually, I got the entire concept. You cleared my doubts. That was my major doubt, that how do we protect our NFTs. So thank you, Avi. And I have a few more questions, but I'll pass. There's someone else in the room, and then I'll come back to you.
Sure, Kush, I would love to talk to you further. So Subbu is here. Hi, Subbu. I'm sure if your detox from the M word is finished now.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Like, I don't have any toxic ideas about like metaverse. Yes, definitely, I have fascination for that, but I have my doubts also. Anyways, like, I'm open to the ideas. I myself, I'm planning to build a metaverse. So, yeah. So, I'll be just listening, you guys. I'm traveling also, so.
Okay, so would love to ask if you can reveal that what kind of theme on which this metaverse is going to be, for whom this metaverse is.
Hello, I have one question. Can I ask?
Yeah, Kush, please.
So I want to ask that everyone is so sort of hyped about metaverse that it's gonna be something big. It's gonna be something big. All right. So what are the chances that it will actually fail? You know, like for real. For what if it, you have heard about the .com bust, right? So what if it turns out to be another .com bust? We are seeing this huge craze for NFTs and cryptocurrencies going on, and like the moment the metaverse arrives, everything goes flanked down, like for a short period of time. But that's a dip that no one wants to go in. So what happens then? Like, what are your opinions or views on this?
Well, I'm not an expert on NFTs. Joshman was here, but I believe the NFT market is going to burst in upcoming 2 years or something. I don't know if it's gonna survive on even for 2 years. I'm not really sure about the NFT markets, and the reason is because it's too much hype for NFTs, and people are not understanding the real sort of use case and sort of creating anything for no reason. And it's a powerful tool,
No, I'd
definitely.
like to stop you there, my friend.
Yeah.
Sorry for interrupting, but have you heard about the Board Ape Yacht Club?
Yes, I'm aware of. Yeah.
Yeah, so technically, people are forming groups, and you could identify them through a particular NFT. So, where you said that NFTs are no use, I'd like to object strongly because I believe that it would become an object of possession. You see, the symbol of class, class or something like that. You're getting me right? So NFTs are basically becoming, a sort of luxury. Like you purchase a huge car or something like that just to show off things.
I
Also,
agree. That's what I said. Just to show off, right?
yeah. And
It's
one more
is it
thing.
solving a real problem?
No, it
Can
isn't.
I
And there's
interject?
a
Yes. The things that solve a real problem are useful. So that is
yeah.
sort of my
I'll come
definition.
back to that. NFTs are actually helping artists to develop the product. You see, you have heard
Okay.
about Vincent Van Gogh, all right? So he is one of the best excellent artists of all time. If you had heard about him, that guy died believing that he was an artistic failure. He committed suicide. That's a big thing. If you look at his pictures, you'll know what art matters. So basically, what I've heard from till now is that NFTs are trying to help artists reach their goal, but it is somehow the entire schema is changed and become a sort of luxury objects. Like it was basically built so that artists could connect.
I understand the emotions around NFT community and everything, but as I said, NFT has very less to do with art. Right now, it's being. I'm sure. I wish that an NFT relates completely to art, but we are living in the world of generative NFTs, where we are dealing with uh, all kind of Elon Musk being decorated in several ways by the algorithm itself, and you don't know what you are actually buying when you are buying something. So you are definitely not buying the art or the artist, right? So NFTs has less to do with art. However, yeah, it could be a very really it could be used in very practical way. That is for true. But right now it's a lot of hype. So I think the hype is gonna burst in upcoming 2 to 3 years. That's what I meant.
Okay, so let me give you this. So basically, what Mark Zuckerberg is trying to build is a place of metaverse where artists could connect. For example, if you are a designer, all right, you want to design a dress, then you can collaborate with Gucci online, like on the metaverse platform. You can collaborate with Gucci and make an online, an art form of NFT too. Then the Gucci will buy the NFTs and would uh, produce the complete particular product. All right. So that is how metaverse is trying to trade between now. Currently, I'm unaware of such platforms. Actually, I'm very new to NFTs idea and I'm exploring. It's only been 6 months or something like that. So yeah, I'm trying to explore. So
Yep.
as much as I have heard this. What are your opinions or views on this? Like, do you think metaverse would be successful in making such a financial model that will help artists connect with huge companies?
Yeah, so said about that the NFT burst is gonna burst, NFT hype, and then I also said that virtual reality and augmented reality are definitely the practical use cases, and the metaverse which gonna build around it are definitely practical use cases. And the biggest problem they're gonna solve is actually transportation. The airline industry is their competitor, not actually any other kind of technology. So this is what I feel that the actual use case of virtual reality and augmented reality is it could be in every possible way. But yes, NFT hype is somewhere I don't see that much rise in that. Of course, this is hyped, which means people are pretty much emotional about it. I do understand, but yeah, Mike Zuckerberg is trying to build something which is called a virtual spaces where you can connect people with people, where you can talk to people and build stuff together, and that's what metaverses are. So Sai is here. Sai would love to listen to you and what you think about this particular discussion.
Hi Avi, I just joined. I was just listening to you guys. I think like not just for now what I feel is metaverse is everything and nothing and and for now, but ultimately if we see the entire value chain of metaverse, like from infrastructure to the new way of interfaces and the new experience and discovery platforms that are being created, it would open up a whole new economy. Even for creators, is what I feel. As you rightly said, like NFTs are being little on hype due to various factors. Like it is a quick money that people are trying to make. But other than NFTs and crypto, there's lots of tech that is being evolved for immersive computing and spatial computing, I believe. And like in next 5 years or so, like probably we can make the whole world like how we have a 2D touch screen now, like we can touch or interact, pinch on any space in our 3D environment, and like we can get some form of digital information. So for me, what's exciting about whole metaverse is, earlier like we were needed to make people aware on what kind of technology VR AR is. Now that due to this hype, like everyone has got some sort of an idea, like what VR AR can do. And for me, that is a main takeaway from this whole hype, because that is ultimately pushing everyone to build the technology or try out new things. And we are slowly moving to standardize we most of the VR AR tech. And even if you see OpenXR, people are adopting more, and like we are having more and more interoperable applications now on platforms. Yeah.
That's amazing. So, Sai, there is one more question for you. Were you there at the VRARA conference which happened yesterday around metaverses?
I didn't join yesterday, Avi, but kind of got a sense of what's happening there.
Yeah,
I
there
mean,
was some
yeah.
really beautiful networking area and a lot of good connections were there. I spoke to a
Oh,
lot of
nice, nice.
founders which are building beautiful stuffs around metaverses, virtual reality, and all sort of things. Really amazing to connect to all the people there. Beautiful platform by VRARA.
Great, great, Avi. Yeah.
Hashir is here. Hi,
Hey,
Hashir.
hi, Avi.
Hi, Avi.
Hi, whoever wants to talk. Everybody
I
has
have
mic open. Yeah.
I think I would like to, mm, give my 2 cents
Yeah, Hashir.
about metaverse and NFT hype. Like hype and everything, financial aspects of it. That's one side, but I believe metaverse is more about creating a digital identity for yourself. You have a real world identity. You have a real world consciousness, which the way you perceive the world. What if now you are to take this entire thing, your in consciousness or your identity, into a whole new different world? Like the end goal, in my opinion, is, uh, let's say you want. I'm sure pretty much like everybody must have seen Matrix. Are we trying to get there? Like you will just upload your consciousness into a world that's been digitally created, and you just happen to live there. Your bodily functions, everything is being taken care of in the real world, but you are living in the metaverse. We are, if that is the goal, I'm not saying that is the goal, but if that is the goal, so we are maybe right now in nursery, and the goal is a PhD level, about the identity of taking one's about the thing of taking your identity and transporting it into a whole new world, which is full of amazing stuff that could be done. Right now, this NFT, I mean, I agree with the previous speaker. You don't have utility. There is no utility to it except that it's the thing of, you're holding a board area, BAYC. So you could show off to your friends, I am a BAYC holder, and it's about status symbol and everything. But are there actual utilities to maybe down the line with tech and everything? What if, I mean, I was looking at the somebody on the panel, he was doing something in AI, Bharat, I suppose. He's not here right now, so I would have loved to ask him, how do you see, what if I have an AI version of me, like who represents me, AI, like an AI entity in the metaverse. So can I do like I'll do my stuff in the real world, and my AI version would do all the stuff in the metaverse. I mean, that could be an amazing question. Like, what could be the modalities of it? How would I interact? How much of me is there in the metaverse? I mean, these are some questions, that need to be pondered upon, discussed, debated. And about the ethics, what do you know about? I mean, have you thought about the ethics of metaverse? Like, how are we gonna reshape the value system? And these are questions that need to be debated, and we are very, very at a very, very early stage right now to discuss about it. And this is what we are doing, on the clubhouse, talking to each other. What do you think? Okay, Avi, what are your thoughts about it? There is no right or wrong answer. There's just, I mean, it's my answer, your answer. Maybe can we come up with something right? I don't know. So those are my 2 cents.
Yeah, I think, yeah, right now even we can sort of take your identity into these virtual worlds. And the way we do it, it's called avatar. So avatar is sort of a virtual representation of what you are, and you can also have options to manipulate this representation in several ways. Let's say you are a cyberpunk fan, so that you can also dress yourself as Keanu Reeves or something. And a lot of people are doing it. If you want to look tall, you can do it in metaverses, because you can manipulate your virtual identity. And for that, you right now don't have to upload your consciousness. You can just stream the very virtual reality metaverses from your eyes and all your other senses. So yeah, right now what you said is really meaningful and makes a lot of sense. But yes, we are yet not there, as you said really correctly.
Mhm. Correct. Like very, very early in what we ought to do.
And
And there's no, like, I mean,
just to
there hasn't. Sorry?
Yeah, Sai, go ahead.
go ahead, Ashid. So I just wanted to add that, I mean, as John Rodolph defines, like the whole metaverse is about dematerialization of things, like whatever the physical form
Oh,
and
yes.
shape and object form that we have, like it's dematerialization of everything, physical space,
So
distance, or
there was a movie I watched. It was called Surrogates, and in that, I think it was yeah, that movie. In that movie, everybody uses a robot, and they sit in couches and they use robot, and robot does the job in the physical
The
world.
Bruce Willis movie, right?
Yeah. And if when I see the concept of virtual reality and everything, I think it's going to be something similar to OSs and everything, where you're gonna do all that work which can be done inside virtual reality metaverses, and you are sitting all the time on your couch or something.
I mean, there is so much fiction around. I mean, fiction world. I mean, movies. Have you watched the Westworld,
Yeah,
the
that's one of
series? I mean,
my
that is one
favorites.
representation of what an afterthought, like what it could be. Then there is Tron. That's another representation of, oh, maybe this is what metaverse is. Or Matrix. That's what metaverse is. Or Ready Player One. I think people are hyped up about Ready Player One. They think, Ready Player One and Meta, what the Facebook has done. So that's the direction. What the Meta,
Yeah, that is
what
that is the
Mark
closest
Zuckerberg
one. Ready
wants to
Player
take.
One is the closest one to what's happening to virtual reality, right?
Mhm. I mean, AI has a great part to play. I don't know. There's a series on YouTube Originals I was watching. I just watched a couple of episodes on it. AI and in fact, AI is not as hyped as metaverse and blockchain, but they are doing some really cool stuff with AI. The space exploration, then agriculture on I mean the world, or I mean on agriculture on Earth, agriculture on Mars. Then this whole metaverse thing with the AI. I mean, it's just crazy in the direction that
Yeah, we
things
were
are
we
moving,
were
and
talking
they are moving
about
so fast.
we were talking about this virtual salesman, which sort of, when you're
Mhm.
traveling in virtual reality in metaverses, they're gonna come up to you and they're gonna talk to you and having a natural conversation with, and they are built up of AI. They don't require any person to drive this particular virtual reality bot, but that is coming to you and talking to you and trying to selling this product with some kind of conversation. And that could be really lead to sales instead of that virtual calls which you right now receive, which is like pretty much makes no sense.
yeah,
I don't
just
know.
to add, Hashir, so I mean, so there's a company called Soul Machines. So
Mhm.
they are currently doing the same thing, like where they create a complete uh, super photorealistic avatar, and it can be integrated to any website as a chatbot, and it will interact with you. That's there. But recently I was just reading out through interesting hypothesis, what's beyond this metaverse. I mean, what is the next step? So
Mhm.
metaverse is just enabling us a like a virtual universe with full
Mhm.
avatar and telepresence. But what's next to this is just a hypothesis, but they're calling it as exoverse,
Mhm.
where we have fully holographic telepresence. And as you said, AI
Sorry,
creates
what is exoverse?
exoverse is some extension of metaverse. I mean, the
Mhm.
next thing that goes after 10 years maybe. So where we have a fully holographic telepresence. Right now, like avatars are
Oh, okay,
kind
okay,
of
okay.
3D representations, right? So
Yeah.
on a experience we will have a holographic telepresence, and on the assets, like right now all the avatars are programmed, as you said, like there are possibilities for AI assistants, and
Mhm.
which can generate contextual information, and more than 50% creatorship will be there, and 50% of automation, and even after that there's a thing called exoverts, and which ultimately leads to another level of other 100th level holy words where we'll be immortal. So there's a very interesting theory that's been progressing, but these are all very very unrealistic things now. If you just see uh, take a simple example of a speech to speech chatbot that can work in vernacular languages, or let's say even Indian languages. We don't have the robust tech built still. Like, we can't have a conversation engine which can speak Hindi to Hindi in real time. So we have
Mhm.
conversions, and there are firstly, like, if you just decode the fundamental actions that we do when you say a AI version of us can be created. There's more than rational things that we do. Most of human things that we do are irrational. So the irrationality factor for AI to replicate might take some time, and that time would be the ultimate level of this 100. I would share you this thing, and it says like path and beyond meta.
There is
So
Mhm.
this
there is also a metaverse called Thingiverse, and Thingiverse is basically the metaverse of things, where everything is available in form of printable models. So if you have a 3D printer, you can connect it to 3D the Thingiverse, and you can just download anything you want, or you can upload any 3D printable model you want. So that is a lot of cool things are happening.
I think it's high time for Bakhadat to restart that show she used to run, where where does the buck stop or something like that. The buck stops here, or where the buck stops,
Yeah,
because
not
there's no end
aware
to
of
it. I
this
mean,
bus stops. What was it about?
it was a show from on NDTV Bakhat. I mean, it was a joke. Don't worry, it wasn't really serious.
fundamentally, this is all very 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 compute intensive. Like, to do 3D on web is a different game altogether. I mean, for us to evolve to all of this metaverse, like, infrastructure guys play a big role. I think, like, earlier there was a discussion on Geo 2. They play a huge role because they are the ones who have the core layer of 5G and the next generation next generation broadcasting tech that they can build. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty amazing.
I would like to hear your thoughts, yours and Sai's, Avi's and Sai's, about metaverse and fashion. What are your thoughts about it? Like, how do you see metaverse or VR rather mm, contributing to the fashion world?
Yeah,
Uh,
yesterday I met somebody who has this metaverse of fashion. Just yesterday I had a conversation with somebody. I
Mhm.
have saved their number. I'll have to call them again and talk to them more about this, and probably gonna
Mhm.
invite them on the podcast as well. I do a podcast too.
On where is the podcast?
Yeah, I have a YouTube channel called XRDI TV, XRDI actually. If you look
Uh-huh.
for XRDI on YouTube, you're gonna find it. We actually
Okay.
have a community, and there we do all this kind of things. We build metaverses, we do all kind of podcasts, we do all sort of things. workshops, all kind of material is there.
So how do you see the contribution of this technology and fashion? Where do you see fashion heading?
Yeah, for me, the passion is technology. That's why I do this. I just love technology.
Oh no, not the passion. I see. I'm talking about the
Oh,
fashion, fashion
fashion.
F
Yeah,
with
yeah, yeah.
with an F.
I also had a friend who was building something around fashion. He did India's first fashion show in virtual reality. So
Mm-hmm.
Sachin was his name, Sachin from Build AR.
Mm-hmm.
Sachin Sharma. I had conversations with him. I hosted him on my podcast as well. And then this guy. So a lot of people are doing a lot of. So, see, a lot of things which we see have no connections with virtual reality and augmented reality can be actually
Mm-hmm.
uploaded and worked with connected to that, because it's a sort of a medium, and like your phone and like your radio and like your TV is a medium, but it is the interactive one, which means you can also do two interaction with the content itself.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I had texted you in the back channel a couple of, 2 days ago, because I really wanted to talk about the fashion aspect and the technology. And you're the only guy I know in the VR space, because I
Just
am
to
working with somebody.
yeah, just to add on to Avi, Hashir. So because like I mean, luxury fashion is a most most advanced companies. That
Mhm.
adopt to new technologies, and like as this is a new medium for them to sell or like for them to try out, they are being in forefront. Like Gucci is doing it, all the LVMH brands are doing it. So just that this is a new form, and there will be a hype cycle at least for 2 years for people to do it. I mean, if you see all the Louis Vuitton products, they sell the story than the product. So
Mhm.
selling story through these immersive mediums is way more possible, and they can create more engagement on it.
Mhm.
And even if Nike is building their own virtual world, where people can play and interact with others. So I mean, since this is a whole new medium, it is the thing that that can be easily adopted by these fashion guys. And on the other side, uh, there are companies that are building virtual try-ons. So like let's say if it's clothing or jewelry or specs or anything, like you could literally try on using your camera or everything from Instagram. Even as an Instagram filter, you can try out
Yeah,
goggles,
I've seen
outfits.
those. I've seen those. Yeah,
Yeah, so that's one
virtual try on.
area
Yeah.
where fashion is adapting VR and AR, and other is like to sell, or like now every company is building a virtual store, which is just like a 3D space on web, and like you can go and just view that whole space in 3D. Yeah.
No, with the huge brands like Louis Vuitton or Gucci or Balenciaga. I mean, they have the funds. They can do whatever they want. I mean, if there is technology available, they can probably get that uh,
Yeah,
uh,
so
with the brand.
for them
I'm
the
talking
whole
about
point.
a real. How could a retail fashion store or a fashion designer sitting in somewhere in Bangalore or somewhere? I mean, a retail fashion, a good fashion store designer, use the technology to his advantage and actually compete with people in. I know NFTs can do it for them, but how is VR and AR and XR MR, how is that advantageous and how can they utilize it? I mean, one of the examples that you gave was this virtual try-ons. That's a great example, and it could be a great success, I mean, bonus for them. What else is there? How else do you see the space moving? Where else do you see it going?
Yeah, guys, before Sai you answer that, there are a lot of people waiting, so let me just ask to them as well for a
Sure, sure,
second.
sure.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
Hi Razim, how you? Thanks for being patient. Yeah, Razim is sort of not available. I'll move to Joshman. Hello, Joshman. How you? What's going on in the NFT space?
Hey guys, I'm a bit. I'm in middle of something. I'm just listening to you guys, so I might not be able to be part of the conversation, but I'm listening. Okay.
No worries, guys. Now, Sai, you can continue.
Sure, Ravi. So, Hashir, like we see, most of the advantage of VR AR is to augment an experience, but fundamentally may not be able to provide value to all kinds of use cases. I feel the same for fashion, because fashion is, more on the experience that they get when they shop physically, or like when they shop in person. uh, if you avoid NFTs in the fashion space, the only thing that they can do is to build a virtual space on web, and kind of just augment the experience. Just make an extension of a 2D e-commerce store to a 3D e-commerce store is what I believe that they can immediately do, and this can build an exclusivity factor for them. They can be the first ones who can do this. That's the only thing from what I feel, Ashir. Yeah. We can add more. Yeah.
Okay, we'll continue the conversation, but Deepak is here, and you might want to ask question. Avi, there are lots of people now.
Yeah, now there are a lot of people. Deepak, how you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. So if you have any questions, if you want to add something, want to share some experiences about metaverses, please go ahead.
I don't have any question, or I'm just like new to this space, kind of understanding and exploring the metaverse and everything. So yeah, I was here mostly for the purpose of listening. So as of now, I do not have any question, or not sure if I can add anything. So
No
yeah,
worries, Deepak. We'll come back to you whenever you get any questions. Please just ping me or yeah, start saying. Shivam is here. Hi, Shiam. Sorry. Hi, Shiam.
Hi everyone. I hope all of you are doing well and happy to be part of this conversation. So I would like to bring in two different perspectives with respect to metaverse and how NFT is related to it. First thing is, I know metaverse is being getting gaining a lot of traction and a lot of interest by Facebook and other companies. And my one of my concerns is how feasible is mass adoption possible, and how how can people really get into virtual reality. Like, I know earlier using a smartphone was something only for conversations on phones, and now everyone has a smartphone and high speed internet, and education, ordering of food, or even basic needs are being met through a smartphone. So wide adoption has been taken place on smartphones, and how long will this take for a metaverse to be a reality? That's one thing. Second thing is, we see NFTs, interest of NFTs and digital assets and metaverse gaining popularity in the recent last 1 year or last few months, because we know that the cryptocurrency market has also become extremely popular because of the high prices of the Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other assets. And what will happen? We are almost at the top of the uh, market cycle, bull market. And what happens when the bear market ends? What happens if the once the prices of the digital assets, like say Ethereum, goes down and crashes? Will the NFT be still popular? Won't people sell off their NFTs to take out the profit? So we always see that during a bear market, once the prices go down, people forget their cryptos, they dump their cryptos, they move on. So that's another concern. How valuable is the NFTs in metaverse? And is it something that will be profitable once the regulations framework comes into place? And how well both NFTs and metaverse plays hand in hand? So these are two concerns and two perspectives that I have regarding this. Thanks.
Thanks, Shiam, for sharing these perspectives around crypto. As you can see, the crypto is something which you are working for a long time, and yeah, and of course NFTs, which are somewhere directly related to metaverses. I can, yeah, truly appreciated your perspectives. I have here Freak in Future. Hi, Freak, how are you?
Yeah, thank you for inviting me on stage. I've been listening to your conversation a couple of times, and we wanted to jump on stage, but I'm just a busy person right now. I've got time to jump on there right now. But just to go through what I've been hearing, the metaverse cannot be owned by one person. For instance, you got Facebook that have now rebranded to the Meta. I mean, like they are trying to control that space with the kind of like former kind of like business that they had before, but that is not possible. And basically, in regards to different types of activities within the metaverse, it goes two ways. You got the decentralized and you got centralized. Now, what the whole element around Bitcoin and around the metaverse is to do with independency, where basically it gives the opportunity for smaller companies to level off the playing field with your bigger companies. We can pick on the fashion industry, for instance, in regards to somebody already mentioned Burberry, Zara, all these companies that are now getting involved in NFTs. Somebody mentioned about Nike. Yes, they are. They're building their own metaverse. I mean, there's lots of these big companies out there that are independently supporting their own brand. Now, basically, in regards to people like ourselves that are independent, we can't compete with them, but we can compete with them if we collaborate. Now, obviously, the big talk in the metaverse at the present moment in time is about collaboration. Now, basically, that means whether you build your own space and you open the portals to other spaces that other people are doing, or there's one big metaverse to which people collaborate within. Now, there's several kind of like metaverses that are out there at the moment that are building this type of format. Now, what Freaking Future are doing is quite simple. We have like a mission in regards to using the metaverse to create a message around fashion in regards to its fashion waste, for instance. Now, the reason how we're doing that, I would say, is by using 3D digital designs, like using Cloth 3D software, or there's another one called... oh God, I can't remember now. It'll come back to me. But there are two that I would definitely recommend. But basically, in regards to that, that helps reduce clothing wear. In regards when you're sampling, for instance, in regards to using real fabric, you can actually use this software to build up your collection through your digital assets. Now, this is what we mean by using kind of like the metaverse, where you place your assets, your 3D digital clothing design in a metaverse to which can be showcased. Now, already there's been showcasing using 3D digital designs already for the last 12 months, where several elements or several groups have come together and actually put on a 3D digital catwalk show. Now, obviously, these things are being used right now, which I think at the end of the day, through my negotiations I'm having at the moment with a company over in Bangladesh, in regards to introducing this in your area. Basically, in regards to the fashion waste, this is where we actually stand. We're actually using oddment fabric to create another collection, to which we are using that, creating that design as a 3D digital asset, to which we then can showcase. Now, once we can turn that into a 3D digital asset, then that can be turned into an NFT. Once you turn that into an NFT, that's where you create a revenue stream. Now, as an independent designer, if I wanted to do a one-off item, okay, like a couture wear or anything like that, or kind of like, a really avant-garde dress, then I turn that into an NFT. I can then sell that and obviously provide the real item at the same time. So that's giving value to your NFT. So there's lots of ways of doing things, but at the same time, you have to understand the vulnerability of Bitcoin. Because at the moment, as I mentioned earlier, there was a situation in regards to wastage. Now, Bitcoin, through Ethereum or SDAT or any of those companies, they carry a lot of wastage when minting. Now, obviously, it's quite important when I mentioned to you in regards to digital coinage, and there's a company called Hedera that we're dealing with at the moment that has what they call a hashgraph system, which is purely digital. Now, basically, what that means, when you're minting, there's zero waste. Now, that's a situation that is going to be quite a big topic in the next coming 12 months. So, in regards to the metaverse and NFTs, I wouldn't panic at this present moment in time, because there's still a lot of sorting out to be done. And obviously there's a lot of people in that space that are just in it just to get in and out. So there's lots of, when you see a new kind of revolution taking off, you're going to get a few hits here and there. So you have to be careful. So all I'm saying to those that are out there that are thinking about the metaverse, or how to turn your collection into a 3D digital design asset, then obviously, it's time to learn. You got at least 12 months to get your head around how the system works, who to trust within that space, because that's quite important too. So there is time. So that's my contribution to this conversation. And thank you for inviting me on stage. And I'm Leroy Smith. If you're confused, I'm done speaking. Thank you.
Thanks. You shared a lot of great perspectives about the metaverses, especially the part where you said that metaverse can't be owned by one person. However, there are going to be ownerships, monopolies, and yes, there are going to be decentralized ones as well, which will be owned by everyone. The way how decentralized work, everybody knows, and especially the crypto people. I can see a lot of crypto people here, decentralized rocks, and everybody is sort of taking up and building something in it. It's really cool. I can see Sam is here. Hi, Sam. How are you doing?
Hey, Avi. I'm doing good. Hope you're doing good too. Yeah.
Yeah,
So this is
yeah.
my first. Yeah, this is
Really
my
having
first
a
time. It
great
is
conversation and really want to know
great.
your perspectives about metaverses and what you guys do.
Yeah. So I think it's a very promising thing that we are going into this Web3 and then as an extension to the metaverse. Having said that, I think Facebook, when Zuckerberg said that he's banking on this one and seeing Facebook's future in a metaverse. I think that there's no other choice, right? I mean, one thing is to provide this social network like Facebook, and the other question is how long can you sustain it, right? When the whole world is changing, how long can you sustain by this business model? And therefore, you have to move to something which is drastically different from what we have now, and it's embedded in the human psychology. I think that you need something new to sustain your interest, right? Everything which is of real good interest today becomes tomorrow's normal, and now whatever is magic considered magic today is tomorrow's normal, and that's what you see with the whole internet, right? I mean, if for chance if we were born 50 years ago, something like that, and somebody would say that we would be sitting like this here in Clubhouse and just talking and sharing views right at this moment from different parts of the world, this would be pure magic and madness, right? But here we are, and from that point, I think even though it's told as some kind of a fantasy story, it's going to be pretty much real, I think. On a side note, I'm a bit concerned about the whole play of these monopolies in this field, because one of the ideas of the blockchain technology and the decentralization was to abolish monopolies that were created by the Web 2.0, and if the torchbearers of Web 3.0 would be still the existing monopolies, then it's kind of defeating the purposes. I mean, technology-wise, you would still have decentralized stuff, but then the question is, from an implementation perspective, what are you actually gaining there? Are we actually taking the monopolies off? Is it truly decentralized in the social way of things, not from a technological point? And how can we make sure that everyone in this field is having equal opportunities, or at least a fair opportunity, and not something that we have to fight against this monopolies to make any sort of profit or make any point in that new world, right? So would like to know your thoughts also. So these are my thoughts. I'll add in between. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks for sharing this perspective, these thoughts. I can see Razim is also here. Hi, Razim.
Hi, hi. Uh, we are working on fashion industry where we build 3D models by using computer vision. So what we are facing is when we capture a image from a camera, when a person move a little bit, the 3D scatters. So how different is computer vision and metaverse? I just wanted to know, like.
Yeah, so
Uh,
computer vision is sort of a very, very small part which plays into sort of this when you're talking about photogrammetry, the creation of models when you're talking about augmented reality, the tracking system and everything, understanding the markers and everything. So yeah, computer vision is a crucial part, and it's a part of AI, part of AR, sort of which plays. And metaverses is basically the social aspects of virtual reality and the worlds which we can build using these technologies. So we were just talking about the fashion industry and what kind of use cases can be done in the fashion industry and who is doing this. So I mentioned a friend, and then you are also here, who's sort of blending the metaverses or kind of 3D modeling in some ways with the fashion industry. Would love to know what are your experiences with, what are your pain points. You mentioned about whenever somebody is
Hmm.
moving, the mesh points, the captured points are completely messed up.
Hmm.
So
Yes, yes.
what kind of situation is it? What exactly happening in this application?
Uh-huh. So we tried on rigid body and non-rigid body. Rigid body is something which is not moving, and the non-rigid body is which is little bit movement there. So we are working right now on that, like motion capture. But still there is a lot of lighting problems. So one light falls on a particular point, it reflects from that point. So we couldn't capture that in camera. It can capture only few area of the point. When when we built a model, like we use in computer vision, we use volumetrics and 3D reconstruction, and also few other rendering algorithms. When when we were trying to capture a human body by different camera, one thing I found is, we can capture a human body even if they are moving. We need to place so many cameras around him. That is one option. And another option is by single camera. We tried on single camera, and where we found that camera cannot reconstruct body properly because of the non-rigid movement. So there are few challenges we were facing in 3D, in computer vision. In metaverse, I want to know, is it captured by camera, or is it done manually by a software like Unity?
Y- Yeah, so 90% of the metaverse applications are being handcrafted, did by some sort of designers. But yes, there are some sort of elements which are captured by camera and done using algorithms like photogrammetry, like volumetric capture systems, like you are working on. And but mostly it's done by some designers. You also spoke about rich bodies and soft bodies. So rigid bodies are basically we are treating an object just a single point in space, and then we are manipulating that entire object with just one that particular point. And the short body physics is somewhere the entire body, based on the movement, the entire body reacts to that particular. It could be like squishy, it could be all kind of shapes and everything, and they all react in terms of physics. So that kind of things we use. But yes, you said it really correctly. Sometimes it could get really tricky to capture the getting the right tool to capture any product, and also there could be really tricky to sort of capture it because of a lot of issues, the lighting and the surface details. Sometimes if you don't have any pattern, recognizable pattern, that could also get you could also get messy captures. So there are plenty of things. I will recommend you some tools. Just stay connected with me, and then ping me on the messaging in the back channel as well. We'll definitely talk more about this.
Sure, sure. And I wanted to tell about one company, which is Naked Labs, where what they are doing is, they are keeping device below the leg. So that device will rotate automatically with particular time period, and it could capture a real human in proper way. So they are actually working on fitness. But we are also working on fashion, where we captured a skin color of a human body, then we recommend them a best suited fashion style. So these algorithms already built by us, but the only part is left is that 3D modeling of the human body. So we also work on NLP and all. NLP, we built a chatbot which could respond with 128 languages, and also voice bot where which could respond within 700 milliseconds, which is like a real person speaking to you.
So can I
That's
just
really
add
amazing.
to yeah
Yes.
yeah so I think I don't know how relevant this is going to be, but I'll tell you something. So I think 5 or 6 days ago, NVIDIA came up with a scientific paper, yeah, and the core of the paper is this follows. Like they had this problem of when people move on a plane, all their 3D models were shifting, yeah, and this is called slipping in their language. And this was a huge problem because they are planning something for the metaverse, and they don't want future human models whoever they are modeling to be kind of slippery on any surface. Let's say you have a meeting, and then you're talking and you have your gestures, and just by gestures you're slipping across the floor, yeah. So now they recently they came up with an algorithm which actually predicts the pose of the 3D model, yeah, in this case humans, and then correctly compensate for this slip across 2D surfaces. Now I don't know whether this slippage is related anywhere related to the shake that you have in your own models, but maybe you can look at the NVIDIA paper for
Yes,
the
yes,
details. Yeah,
I have seen that. They are using
great.
SMPL models so that they can fix the duplicate model into a original like human. Then they can render. So
So this is kind of a post prediction
mhm.
algorithm
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you're
pose,
using.
pose. It will detect the pose, and
Right.
they will
Yeah.
match it
Yep.
the model to the pose.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's a new thing going on in research.
Hello, Avi.
Yeah, yeah, Kush, please go ahead.
Sorry, I had to go. I had to disappear for a few moments. I actually had one small question. All right. So
Yeah,
we're talking
please.
about metaverse. All right. So let me suggest this. For example, it's totally hypothetical, but we all know. Let me give you some reality check. That we all know that Facebook is known for messing up things. Like let's say Facebook builds a metaverse. All right. It transacts about $500 billion industry. All right, it becomes someone such. But let's say Facebook server crashes. We have known this are becoming pretty frequent. So Facebook server crashes. So entire $500 billion industry is down. Like no one can connect or no one can share. It's like stock market being not operable for 3 or 4 hours. And talking about economic scale, it's a huge impact, a very huge impact. And secondly, Facebook is known for making complex things. Sorry, Facebook is known for making complex things, right? So, what if they totally mess up all the things while building a metaverse and it comes out to be a total sham? What are your opinions on this? Or anyone could give your opinions on this?
Yeah, your concerns are correct around server, but let's say if any company is managing servers this big, there is sort of this problem that it could go wrong for a number of reasons. And yes, that is true that in past we have seen Facebook server crashes, but it happens to every other company. It happens to Google, as well as it happens to sometimes these it happens to Indian Railway, and a lot of companies which manage the way to do it is sort of in the operational way. You can have multiple servers. They already have they don't put servers in just one location, so that they don't just put data in just one location and everything. So I think Facebook is pretty big. They have a great amount of talent, and they have great amount of geniuses on their uh, on board. So I think they can pretty much do it. I don't see these concerns, but yes, the concern I see the most is, of course, the privacy, and then of course the monopoly, and then their way of monetizing everything. These could be far more visible concerns right now, I would say.
Yeah,
I
actually, the monopoly would be a total different thing. The current my problem I'm saying is first problem you answered. The second one was the complexity of applications they built. For example, if you're using Facebook now and you used Facebook for like 5 or 10 years ago, you'll know the difference that I'm talking about. Like they have, in order to make something so beautiful, they have put in everything. Like they brought reels from Instagram, they brought shorts from YouTube, and they have totally like messed up the platform. Like they have some chat features and the group features, and you see Facebook is now a very complex thing if you want to use. So what if they built metaverse, what if they replicate Facebook, like they build something so complex to use and it falls because people people are not so smart, and we have to believe that people, it takes time for people to learn things. And what if people are not adaptive to the technology? What would happen then?
Push, can I answer this?
Yeah, sure,
Sure,
Subbu.
Shivam. Yeah.
Okay. So, see, I think
I think your network is really bad. Yeah, Subbu, you wanna go?
yeah, yeah, like guys, look at the history. No matter how much he is, no matter even all this, all what happens is start like something is going to go other. Even
I can't hear him at all.
Yeah, same here.
I thought
Yeah,
my
Subbu, there
network
have been
was
some
bad.
yeah, same.
there are some network issues on your side, Subbu.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Subbu, your
like
network is gone. Yeah, talking
yeah. Can I
about
try to answer that question,
Actually,
Avi?
actually,
yeah,
Faith,
Shiam, you can go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
please.
I think Shiam, he asked you to go, so you can go, Shiam. I think he's oh
So it's literally gone.
he's
Yeah.
He's
no,
back.
he's back.
It's
Yeah,
back
you can
again.
speak now. Where are you?
Oh, he's gone.
On again.
So like I can answer question on adaptability.
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
Yeah, I can try to answer, okay, because I've seen it very closely with my parents. So see, what happens is, technology comes, and technology will always evolve faster than the human brain, right? So technology is one step ahead of what human can imagine or what they think is possible, right? So I remember when I used to tell my father that now you can access traffic, like the routes to certain cities or within the city, using something called Google Maps. He never believed on me, okay, and he said, no, what is this, how is it possible? So I told him the way the newspaper or the news channels show the weather reports through using the satellites on their TV. Similar way, nowadays mobiles have power to show you the routes using the satellites. So that's how I try to explain him. He kind of got it, but it took time him to get on board with that, and now he is pretty expert and he uses Google Maps, right? So whenever the technology evolution will come, it will first come for the younger generations, like people like us, or maybe some people who are younger than us and they are more techno freak, and then slowly these guys will make it popular. The adoption, see, we have to understand that whatever the new generation is thinking, that becomes the future. Whatever the new generation is going to do, that will be the future, right? So the new generation is going to make it popular. It won't be difficult for them, and then like I gave an example, it will slowly propel among our family, our societies, and our countries and stuff like that. Similarly, my father couldn't imagine he could book Uber using a Uber app, right? But now he can do that. So he learned with the time, and people like us are there who are going to make it easier for them to explain, because you can't expect Facebook to start various initiatives in every city, every rural area, and try to explain them what is metaverse. So slowly it will happen. It might not happen even like in small shots, but it will eventually happen. So like that's how technology evolves. That's my idea.
Okay,
Thank you.
yeah, I actually got you. Now, here's the counter question. All right. So I totally agree with whatever you say. So you said that Facebook, we cannot expect Facebook to do initiatives to help people in rural and village area. I agree, but let me tell you that you're telling that younger generation would be the first to adapt to change. All right. Metaverse is a place that would be monetary benefit places. Like you see, they are trying to make money from the places. How much money could they expect from the younger generation? Like, come on, man, we need to realize that we are not parents. When we could just go to them and tell that that's a great opportunity, let's invest 10 lakhs, they would definitely not give it to us, and that's the truth. So how do you think this would affect on the company portfolio?
No.
What's
So
the
when
question?
when Kush, when Facebook started,
what's his question? I mean, I didn't get his question.
he's saying the adaptability, like the technology is so complex, so how will it be adapted by masses? That's what he's trying to say. So Kush,
Yeah, that was the first question. The second question is, he said, Joshman said that younger generation would be the first to adapt. I totally agree. But the question here is that Metaverse is trying to monetize the platforms, all right? And younger generation doesn't have the money. Like they have the money, but up to a certain extent, all right? And the second thing is that we cannot expect our parents to go up and say, like we could not go to them and say, give us 10 lakh rupees and they'll give us to invest. So that's my question. Like, how do they plan to work on this?
I'll come to that. See, when Facebook started, nobody could imagine there'll be a common place where friends will start chatting with each other. It started with a prank, right? They tried to tease that girl and whatever it was, and then it slowly, eventually developed to a social media. So now our parents got on board to it, right? All of our parents use Facebook. I'm assuming that they use WhatsApp and stuff like that. So now coming to how it will become very popular in public will be, so if you have read, like Microsoft Teams is now associating with Facebook to build the metaverse around its Teams software. And I think you know what is Teams. Teams is basically an official messenger. Yeah, right? So what will happen, old people who are still working, okay, they will have to adopt this technology because their office will force them to do it, right? So they'll say either work from home, if you're working from home, use these glasses, AR glasses, and log into the Teams metaverse. Otherwise, come to office, right? So slowly, what will happen? The adaptation will start from all these products. It will not be that it will be only Facebook's meta and everybody has to go inside that only. There'll be small things. Like nowadays, when you purchase sofa, okay, you can actually generate the AR of that, and you can display it in your house, like how position, like what kind of position it will take in the particular area you want to keep it and stuff like that. So these small steps will actually lead to, you know, the bigger purpose or maybe the bigger goal of everybody getting connected to metaverse. And second thing is, everybody need not to be in metaverse. Like we have physical world also, so it's not going anywhere, and it is not mandatory for everyone to join. But like it's not mandatory for everyone to join Facebook also, but still there are 3 billion people. Like it's free, people join and people are sharing their data also, they are okay with it. But that's what I don't get. Like when it is something is nobody is forcing on you, you are joining that stuff, and when it is using your data, you are shouting against that. So they're not saying you don't you come to us. They're not forcing you, right?
Yeah, I got you. But
so that's the thing.
Actually, the problem is that people don't they're also trying to make money, and people don't realize that what kind of data. Like if you tell someone that your data is getting leaked, they'll probably think that their bank stuff and everything is getting leaked. Like people don't think it through that there are other sorts of data through. And that's the most, that creates chaos in everything. So you're getting me, right? I
think we in India are less concerned about the privacy and data leakage and everything than the people in the West. So it's not like I'm not comparing the tragedy.
I will tell you, Ashir. So okay, what these guys do, right? Amazon Alexa and Google Home, they give free Google Home devices over here. Okay, so they will say take it for free from us. So a $20-$30 device, everybody goes and buy it because what Google will do when they will use it, they will use the data of it, and right. So Google is giving it for free. People are buying because it is free for them, and they can hear songs and do a lot of AI related, IoT related stuff with that.
I mean, aren't we giving out data right now? I mean, as we are talking, we are
right. Yeah, Clubhouse is recording our data, right? That based on that, it suggests us which room we should go, which room are popular, stuff like that. So if you are part of a software world, I do not think you can actually save your data or on your privacy.
And again, it's not necessary. I mean, it's not. You don't have to understand the technology to use it. I mean, how many of us? I mean, I don't know who understands how the mobile technology actually works, but still people use it. I don't know how the mobile uses. I don't know how the WhatsApp uses, how this messenger, because I'm not a techie, but I still use it. So in order to use something, you don't actually have to know how it works. We use TV. We have been using TV since like past 70 years. but we still don't know how the TV operates. There's a TV tower somewhere, there's channel going somewhere, and you can just press the remote, TikTok, and it happens. So in
Yeah,
order to
I've been
use the
recently
technology, you
to
have to
a
understand the
offline store, and they track data in all the possible ways. Whatever you are putting in your cart, right? They are making a profile out of you and how many people are in your family and everything. And they do track what kind of expensive you do, which is like more crucial data than what these apps are collecting online.
Yeah, I totally agree on that. And what Hashi said is true too. Indians don't care about what are you, whether they are storing your data. If you're giving them free stuff, they're totally entertaining us. Yeah, भाई जितना चाहिए डेटा ले जाओ, हमें भाई हमारा free stuff दे दो.
हाँ, तो it is two way, right? You give me something for free, okay, you take whatever you want. You don't take stuff for free, you will not get it. You won't be able to sharing the data. That's how it works. This is the world,
Apparently,
right?
people in the West aren't
I mean, it's
able
a
to
very
accept
fine
that.
line, right? I mean, do you want to give data to people so that you can? I mean, giving data out to companies improves your user experience. So where do you draw the line? Should you give out the data to improve your user experience, or are you happy with the shitty user experience and don't want to give the data? You
So
know?
that's why there are regulations like HIPAA, there are regulations like PCIs, there are regulations like
Yeah,
GDPR,
that's what the government is
right?
for, to create regulations and help us
So
save our identities and data.
and also let these companies survive. Otherwise, if these guys don't follow these regulations, they can steal anybody's data and it will be bigger stuff for the society, right? So there is an audit check that are you guys following these regulations or not? And I'm sure they are advanced. They will actually bypass these checks also. But at least there are some framework which kind of takes care of it. So we have to think how can this be placed in metaverse.
I mean, I had a discussion with my brother last night. कौन powerful है? Is it Mark Zuckerberg or say some country leader, say Putin? So we were like on the opposite side. I was saying Mark Zuckerberg because if he wishes, Mark Zuckerberg, he can actually bring down Russian government.
Hashir, just so you know, that Mark Zuckerberg doesn't have access to nuclear weapons. Putin does. And that's a big thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that there'll be a nuclear robot. Mark Zuckerberg is in the position to actually bring down Russian government.
Yeah, and so
Putin,
is
if he
Russia.
wants to launch a campaign against this guy, I mean, look at what he did to MBS. Right, MBS was like, no,
Yeah, totally.
he was hailed as the new leader of the Saudis and everything. One campaign and MBS has been, his reputation has been
Hashir,
tattered.
have you heard about this? Like I have read it.
There's some noise, there's some noise.
Hey guys, can you hear me now by chance?
Yes, Subbu, we can.
Jasmine, can you mute it?
Yeah, let's see whose shower is that.
Josh man, I guess.
Okay. Guys, if you're okay with this, I'll the topic you have actually
Yeah,
moved with the
please, Subbu.
topic. I'll actually answer the last question if that is okay with you guys.
Yes, please, Subbu.
Yeah. So Kush, so your question was like, what if the Facebook mess up the metaverse, right? So like what I was saying was, if you observe the history, what happened throughout the history, no matter how big a company is, how matter this multi-billionaire companies actually grow, okay, how no matter from how long they are actually there, the real innovation is actually going to come from the young and new startups. So even if the Facebook actually mess up the whole ecosystem, it will be a setback for a while, but one or the other company will definitely start up, and one or the other small startup will actually build something really big, and then it's going to cover up the flaws that has that Facebook could have actually done. So that's what I feel. Yeah, so but given like few parameters, like the metaverse is going to be really helpful for the people, that's one assumption. And people people basically use it interesting and valuable and also useful, like useful enough to switch to the virtual space. So I think these are the parameters that are quite essential. If that is the case, then definitely Facebook doesn't do it, some or the other company will actually definitely do it. So
Yeah,
that's my take on
I
this.
totally agree. And apparently the companies will do, because SoftBank has $200 billion in its pocket to fund growing startups. All right, so someone somewhere is going to come up and solve the problem. But the question here arises is that would it be soon enough? Like for example, with the free flowing amount of money and the kind of boom we are headed for, is it actually a boom or we are headed into a dip? Like what if the markets are gonna crash before something big happens, and then we have to wait 10, 20 years for its actual effect to be seen?
Actually, Kush, I think this question is really interesting because if a company is trying to like bring a revolutionary product as a big company, right? So it might mess up the space. Like because they if they're in, they will be invest they'll be in a position to invest high and so experiment less and they want to experiment in one go, and if that doesn't actually work out then and they will be having a high expectation. They want people to adopt in such a rate to actually continue it and stuff like that. So if something has a slow growth and if something can catch up slowly and it needs to be innovative and people have to sink in for some time, I think if those are the cases, then if some big company is actually putting their hands on that, uh, yeah, there is a chance that it can actually quite mess up the space, and yeah, that could be possible.
Yeah. The point you raised about pace is very accurate. I'd like to share one small story. I guess many of you guys must have heard about Xerox Park. The Xerox
That was the example that came to my mind too. Just go on. Amazing.
The Xerox Park, if you heard about it, it had a research center called Palo Alto Research Center, or short for Park. All right. So they had developed this technology where you could see screens on Xerox. Like, for example, you heard about LCD technology, right? So Xerox had developed it. So apparently, Steve Jobs had heard rumors that something big is being developed. So he wanted to see it. So he let Xerox Park invest $16 million in Apple Communications and let him watch that what's happening in Xerox. All right. When he saw it, he was stunned. And he came back home and he told him that we are going to build this. All right, we're going to replicate it. And he asked Xerox to provide all the technologies. Xerox did so. That was the first screen touch phone that iPhone had developed. It was the technology from Xerox. All right. So the point was that Xerox was sitting on the top of something so big that it could have brought a huge revolution in the technological industry. All right. But it gave it all away for a $16 million investment in Apple Communications. So the point you said is particularly correct, and I would also like to mention the example of Apple iPad. All right. So what had happened in the Apple iPad story is that Apple had wasn't the first company to build anything. All right, they were always the second. Like whatever they built, the tech and everything, they were the second because Steve Jobs somewhere believed that being first was not the solution, but being the second was. Like you could learn from the mistakes of the first.
Okay. I think it's just a progression in the human civilization with internet and then phones, and now we are into the metaverse era. This era will pass, and somebody was talking about exoverse and thinkiverse or something. And why are you worried about the companies from Facebook and everything taking our data? We are giving data to how many of you are using Airtel phone? Don't they have our data? I mean, everybody is taking data. I don't know why are we making such a big fuss about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you
I
really if you can disconnect yourself from internet, that will be the best way you might be able to
I mean,
not
actually, I
share
got
everything.
disconnected from internet for 25 months. You know, after 370 and everything, we got disconnected. Like for 25 months, there was no internet, no mobile phones. So I have experienced living outside the internet in the internet era. So I know how it feels. And it's pretty chill. I mean, you're not worried about, you're not bothered, kiska text aaya, kiska phone hai, kya hai. Just chill. I mean, I was transported back to, say, 90s. No phone, no nothing. Chill
Hashir,
life.
Ashir, a question was whether where does the line lies, like you had mentioned previously, and you have said that we are okay with your data being shared. But actually, the problem is that Facebook, Google, and many other big corporates have developed such algorithms that they could actually affect our thinking uh, through these algorithms. Like what you think, they could change it. All right, I'm not talking about political views or something like that, but I'm talking about big deep impacts, like what path you want to choose in your career. They could affect through these algorithms.
The
Like
question is,
there's
can
this.
we escape it? Are
No,
we in
we
a
can't.
position to you and me? I mean, anybody. What
No, we can't.
options do we have? Do we have any options?
There's this documentary of Netflix, if you have heard about the social dilemma or something like this. If anyone has heard about it or seen it here among
Yeah, I've
speakers.
seen.
Yeah. So we could relate to it. And if you could watch the documentary, you'll know that they have made this complex algorithms that you cannot escape.
Uh-huh.
It's the like they have built it so beautifully that you'll come back getting more and more, and then it becomes an addiction, like cigarettes or something like that. Like once you're addicted, you can't leave it. That's the thing.
What I'm worried about, that the computer would know more about me than I actually know about myself. I think there's an interesting book called Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari. And he talks about these He actually talks about these algorithms. He writes about these algorithms, and he gives a very beautiful example. Say, imagine you are gay and you don't know it, and then this algorithm comes and it shows you all these gay products for you, and then you would question yourself whether I am gay or not, because the computer knows you better than yourself.
Ashish, the question you're asking is if my computer would know me better than me or not. The question you should be asking right now is if my computer would make my decisions for me or not. Like these are the algorithms that are impacting your life. Understand
That's one
this.
thing. That's what I said. Na? Is there an option? Can you escape it?
Like
do you have the tools to escape
it? People are trying to make
you can't
laws.
People can't. I mean, I know, I have experienced disconnecting from, and it's very cool. I mean, at first you feel like kya ho gaya, internet chala gaya, but a couple of days later you get used to it. And I have experience for 25 months, no kidding.
Just to add, Ashir, I think like with more law and order in place and new laws, so I mean, we can't escape that, but there is a point which government can regulate the kind of data use. So, like if you see the whole UK, so you should, I mean, there is a very strict GDPR policy, and on every website on the types of cookies that we accept also. So the whole point is, I mean, India didn't approve the data privacy law yet, but we can have a more control on our data with a combination of law and law enforcement from the government.
What data privacy is a fundamental right now. There's no law against it, but there's a Supreme Court ruling from 2018, I guess.
Yeah, that's the entire the legal.
Yeah, that's the only sort of law we have.
No. Actually, this is a big shame. All right, let me explain you this. I have read about it. So we have the Right to Privacy Act, all right, in which we could actually use this right to prevent that whether if we want to give our data or we do not want to give our data. All right, the right only mentions this whether you can or you cannot. What Joshman was talking about is Joshman or Saiteja was talking about is okay, there should be more detailed law about how much you can take or how much you cannot. All right, once you agree on privacy terms and conditions, the Right to Privacy Act gets vanished. This is the big thing that needs to be understood.
I didn't get you. Can you repeat yourself?
Okay, so let me explain you this. For example, right to privacy is an option, like it's yes or no. For example, if you sign into Google and you say that I want to you can access my data, all right, but you cannot access particular like some part of my data. You can once you sign up that okay, how do I explain this? Okay, wait, let me think one moment. Yeah, see, for example, there are 10 types of data you have, like what do you like, what do you want, like your phone numbers and everything, all right? So you want Google to only know that what do you like and what do you not like, so that it could make algorithms on base, all right? But when you sign up for that, you are agreeing to everything. Like the Right to Privacy Bill clearly mentions that if a user allows any company to access his privacy, the company has complete access over the privacy. All right. What Joshman
access over the privacy? What do you mean access over the privacy? Isn't? I mean, certain. Are you saying certain aspects of data you would give out, and certain parts of your data you would give out?
Exactly.
So you have the right to choose what parts you give. Arey, bhai, kaun padta wo terms and conditions? Show me one human being in 7 billion जिसने वो terms and conditions कभी पढ़ा होगा. We just sign it up. I agree. I don't agree, and चलते रहो.
I'm talking about
it's too long. Didn't read. चलता रहता है.
UK and are making complete detailed laws about what you can take and what you cannot take. All right, that doesn't matter that you sign terms and conditions or not. All right, we have just Right to Privacy Act. All right, if you tap on the privacy statement, all right, then it can take whatever it wants. All right, but in UK or everywhere mentioned, the Westerners are preaching that government should make certain laws that the companies could take only that much things. Getting me?
Okay, yeah, certain aspects, certain parts of the data would be taken.
I think
Yeah,
in
exactly.
every app there is an option whether you want to give access to the photos, whether you want to give access to the camera. That much you can control whether to give access to mic or not. There is no particular limit to what photo they can access and what photo they cannot. I don't think there is such thing right now.
And you don't know. I mean, how many of us actually know how these things work?
Yeah, and
That's
also
this
this is
What are
a
you
exactly.
giving out?
one-time access
Access
that
to
you give.
photos. What could they do with the photos? Access to photos. Does this only mean? I mean, when you say give access to file storage, does it only mean that you are giving them? You could save something on the browser and put it there. That's the access, or does the access mean that they can actually pull something off of the gallery? अब ये किसको
So
पता है?
what's right now happening is you give them access for one particular task which you really need to do, but they use it again without asking for the next time. They can use it anytime right now.
Hey,
Now,
hey,
there could be a simple law that you have to ask every time you want access. Yeah, there could be like a simple law. Government of India ne Parliament passes that ask permission every time you take some data.
For some kind
But
of
then
use cases,
user experience खराब
but
हो
then
जाएगा.
it could
Hashir,
become
User
really
बार बार
annoying
बोलेगा
really easily for
Hashir,
some kind of use cases.
sorry.
Hashir,
Yeah.
it's about the intellectual levels of our politicians that need to understand that the difference between right to privacy complete and the right to privacy to select certain objects are different, and they need to pass certain laws as per that. But problem is that these are all 70, 60-year-old people. All right.
I
So
agree with you.
as someone had mentioned previously when I told about that, what happens if my parents or grandparents want to access things, they will think of it as something that is not needed to be given attention to. All right. Whereas in the
It's not
UK
important to
US,
them.
whereas in UK US system, you can see that there are younger people and that the older people are pretty intellectual people. All right. They have some great positions at some great companies and they're joining
अरे
them.
ऐसा नहीं है कि everybody in US and UK is intellectual no matter
No,
what
some
age he is. It's just that they have different needs. हमारा अभी रोटी कपड़ा मकान issues है.
Yeah.
They are beyond that रोटी कपड़ा मकान issues.
Yeah, I
hey,
agree.
Hasir, if I can point,
ऐसा
like
भी नहीं
make a
है.
small comment. Welcome to us, sir.
बात तो क्यों लग रही है भाई?
Hasir, wait.
मकान इशू यहाँ भी है, ऐसा नहीं है कि यहाँ नहीं है. ऐसा लगता है इंडिया में बैठ के, बट if you see ground realities, people here are sleeping on road when it is snowing around, and banks where you have to, like for example I go every week and donate food for people, so ऐसा नहीं है कि ये problems सिर्फ
नहीं भाई ये कर
बाहर
मैं
में
हमारे यहाँ ज्यादा है.
Yeah,
हाँ
no,
तो
even if
population
you take the
Guys,
No.
guys. Like I'll make a quick comment, Avi. So the thing is, just a quick comment, and you guys can actually carry on. That is like, I remember this conversation, previously also. That if like the moment we start talking about metaverse and quote Facebook, it's the discussion is usually actually going towards data privacy issues, and that's definitely a concern. What I feel
yeah,
is,
obviously.
we'll have to have a special room for that data privacy issues. And like Avi, I suggest Avi will actually create such room and invite some interesting people who are into data privacy issues, like
Bring a lawyer. Yeah, bring a lawyer.
not just lawyers, even like people like Umesh, who has built an AI based data privacy companies. So if you have such people, that would be a great discussion. So just making a note that but it will definitely going to be diverted if we talk about the data privacy issues while talking about the metaverse. I just remembered a discussion that happened previously, but now we have started. Like you can just carry on, and welcome, Shiva sir.
Yeah. Hey, Subbu. Okay, let's change the topic for a while. I have a serious question. So you can see that government of India is trying to undermine or underrate cryptocurrencies and stuff. All right. So what are the chances that they will not do the same for metaverse? What are the chances of government involvement spoiling the entire metaverse fun? Like you're getting me the idea, right?
There are every chances, 100% chances. They could do anything they want. Who's to stop them? They don't like it, they won't do it.
That happened
I mean,
in
what are the
crypto
chances?
market.
100%. I mean, the chances are 50-50. Either they do it, they don't do it. Depends ki government ka policy, who's sitting and making decisions.
I
ऐसा हो
think
गया some
it
bureaucrat
is
who's
not
supposed to sign it.
it's not straightforward as we're thinking. See, a government will have no issues. Does government have issue with Facebook? No, right? So until and unless something which is not impacting whatever their excuses are,
Crypto and
National
everything
security.
is directly related to the economy, and also they don't have that much control over what is being expended and where is it's being expenses. So here it is more related to the way people connect to each other. I think it's a much different.
Yeah, there are less monetary rewards, and there's less monetary aspects and more about experience, user experience thing. It's less about monetary. Crypto, people get into crypto because it's a quick buck. You invest money, aaj sham tak it might be doubled. But metaverse is less about money. People don't get into metaverse, although yeah, NFTs and everything. But the direction that I don't know how many of you have watched this documentary, the Meta, recently that Facebook released. I mean, the Meta released. If you've watched, I mean, it's a beautiful documentary giving you a vision of what Zuckerberg's either to Facebook want the Meta to be.
Documentary
And
or the
it's not about so
keynote
much
which
about money.
happened. I watched the keynote, but not aware of the documentary, which is.
I mean, there's just one 1.5 hour episode, like
So
entire
that was like
episode on that.
entire keynote. I guess what you are talking about.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, it would. I mean, for those who don't understand what's happening or have questions about it, a lot of questions would settle. Okay, what is it about?
Amazon Prime, where can I find the documentary?
YouTube, man.
It's on the
Just type Meta
YouTube channel. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
That is amazing. Okay. I think there are a lot of people who have not got time to spoke. I can see Fareen. I can see Razim. Did you get any time to speak? Yeah, you guys can. Yeah.
Hey, Abhi. Actually, I've got to go now, but it would be very great to connect with you. Can I?
Yeah, please
give you a
back
message?
channel me, Kush.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks
And
for being
Saiteja and
here.
Subbu, Shubhu, Hashir, everyone would be great to connect you. I'll just message you on this clubhouse. Hope we could connect.
Yeah, great, man. Always looking forward to connect.
Hi, Fareen. You were saying something?
Yeah, thanks, Avi, for calling me up. Actually, I was just here as a listening member. It was an interesting conversation between you guys. So, just here collecting information and learning about the metaverse. So,
Fareen, I can see that you are also a recruiter, especially into tech space. We recently have started a product basically which is around virtual reality and augmented reality hiring. So we have this platform, a job portal, which is specific to XR, augmented reality, virtual reality. So if let's say the students want to connect to, or the job seeker wants to connect to or get into virtual reality and augmented reality industry, we have the training material as well as the platform to connect them with the industry. So that is where I guess we both can work on.
great. Surely, I mean, it's a very nice initiative. So, definitely looking forward. Thanks, Avi.
Thank you, Fareen. We'll definitely talk more about it. And then there is Razim. Hi, Razim. How are you? Razim, I cannot hear you right now. Yep. I have unmuted, but I cannot listen to you. Not able to hear.
Maybe if he goes out and comes back to the room.
Yeah, he just did.
Hi.
Hi, Razim. Now you are.
Yeah. I had one question regarding now when we use Snapchat or Instagram filter, where when we do that lipstick kind of thing, it will come upon our lips. But when we move little bit away, it will go away. So why it is not happening, like why it's not fixed in the lips?
Yeah, so what we experience around all these filters, it's something called augmented reality. And Facebook is again a big player in this market as well. They recently have completed 100 million plus users into this particular genre in which all people are using filters and everything. So in augmented reality, there are majorly three parts. The number one is, of course, capturing the reality, and that happens through camera. As you can see, the camera yourself in the camera, the real live feed is coming from the camera. Second part is understanding what is present in the real reality, what is present in the picture. So this is being done using intelligence, artificial intelligence, computer vision, that it tries to detect where your face is exactly in the image. and the third part is augmentation, or basically adding that lipstick marker on your, finding your lips and finding and adding that lipstick. So what happens, not every let's say device is equally in processing, not every device is compatible or equally powerful, right? So what happens, this entire process takes some amount of time. For example, capturing the reality has its kind of latencies, like some cameras capture 30 frames per second, some cameras capture 60 frames per second. Then second latency comes from understanding this picture, which means AI takes its time to understand, sometimes to think that okay, where is the face and where is the lips. And that thirdly, the third latency is adding the picture on top of it and finally displaying. So these three four latencies work together. So if you, let's say, move a little bit more, so or these all three four numbers added up and create a huge amount of latency, and that could also sort of confuse this particular understanding. And yeah, that's why it is not really stable. But I think right now it's work really stable in a lot of phones. If you have a little recent phone, Instagram filters work really good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Razim. I hope it answers. Yeah, there are if yeah, I think Shiva is here. Hi Shiva, how you? Would love to know more about you, sir.
Yeah, hi, Avi. Can you hear me? I don't know if I'm audible.
Yes, sir, you audible now.
Yeah, thank you, and thanks for both for calling me up. No, I really like the topic. I think it's very, very interesting, and I have my own insights on it. I've been into this space for the last, I think, 4 5 months, if I'm not wrong. It's a pretty interesting journey because I feel this is the time when you can get into a certain sector of the technology very early into it. And I'm actually seeing the results of it where people are, I mean, it started off with, Metaverse and NFTs, where if you really look at artists around the world who never had an opportunity to display their own originality and create something out of it, I think that's a good place to start where somebody's actually displaying something. And I also see opportunities like, people started off Decentraland, they started off building their own real estate. I think we're coming to terms to understand that somebody's digital presence and digital, not just ownership, but qualifying criteria to be plausibly be on that digital world, that's getting a lot of significance, and people want to bridge that gap. Having said that, you can't take away your personal life, the way you've lived for the last 10, 20 years and suddenly switch to digital. That's practically not possible, right? So we're seeing this really nice trend in migration where adoption is increasing. People are trying to figure out how this works. It started off really well with what blockchain has done and all the cryptos layered on top of it, which I believe is only one of the use cases. But the individuality of a person in a Web3 model is very independent to what they want to build and how they want to really leverage their own things, irrespective of whether they'll convert it into monetization, they'll make money out of it or not is a separate thing. But I think it gives them opportunity at a very low cost to just put something out there and really try it out. Again, not going back to NFTs per se. But we are experimenting on a lot of things. We are a fintech company in India, Hyderabad. But we are trying multiple models today where how do we bridge this? I come from a fintech background, so I probably can talk about it. How do we bridge a finance kind of a problem solving from an inclusion standpoint and bridge that with the frontier technologies like DeFi and others which are coming up? And we've actually built our own DeFi app. Probably Q2 next year it will be launched, where anybody will get access to not just putting up capital and getting liquidity and getting yields out of it, but somebody who's in real world actually gets impacted by it. And then we're trying multiple use cases. So I think from now till 22, 23, 24, people will try multiple things. And the fact that these larger organizations are betting huge on it, whether it is the Facebooks or the Nikes or the Adidases, or there's so many people who are joining the bandwagon. I think it'll only get better from here. And if you're early into the space, you can start exploring it and see what comes out of it. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, that is true, sir. And the initial and the very first thing what I see in fintech, some sort of is the very representation of data and representation of how currency works and everything. That is, of course, the visual analytics and visual representation of how the data is working. That is one thing that could be done, but of course you are so much in the industry and you have did so much experience. So whatever the pain point is, that can be solved in some ways, whether it's networking related pain points or whether it's finding some sort of solutions and making things less complex when it comes to virtual reality, because this is a two-way interactive medium, so we can build some kind of bot to explain things or something, or I don't know. There could be multiple possibilities in the fintech sector when it comes to this. Uh, I will sort of move to Teja. Teja, hello, welcome to this conversation, and would love to know more about you and your opinions about the metaverse.
Yeah, I would like to know about the square foot farm because I was actually looking at his website and I would like to know what it does.
Thus,
Hi everyone, good evening. Shiva, good to see you here. Yeah, I think the room is not about Square Foot Farm, Harshit, but thank you for the interest. It's primarily an organic farming startup that I've invested in, and it helps people grow their own vegetables in their balconies and terraces. And this is not hydroponics or aquaponics. This is pure traditional, desh ki mitti wala sabzi that you can cook, that you can grow and cook at home. So that's about that. But in terms of metaverse, I like what Shiva said, right? And I think the possibilities are huge. I actually came here to learn something more than what I commonsensically know about metaverse. But in terms of the opportunities that exist, I think a lot of people are already exploring this. I was talking to a startup just the other day who were trying to explore metaverse to help socially awkward kids, people who are introverts, perhaps improve their communication skills, try it out with virtual avatars, talk to some virtual avatars and practice. For people who'd like to improve their communication skills, for example, or job skills, leadership skills. I think that's one segment that I'm able to see in terms of skill development, picking this up, being one of the early players. I heard from somebody that one of the largest hotel groups in India is already focusing on providing virtual experiences for their potential customers, including spas and stuff. So I think it's exciting, but how well will this kind of integrate into existing paradigms? I think is something that we'll all have to wait and see. But I'm eager to hear from everyone and learn from each one of you. So Shiva, do you think we should tell somebody in the group to make this an open room? Because
Yeah,
I
I was
see
about
that
to
it
say
is
that. I was about this is such an interesting topic, right?
Yeah.
So,
Avi, did you want it to be closed or do you want us to get this open for you guys?
we are doing this for a long amount of time, so I think it's fine. Will it's fine. Closed. We are having good amount of people here.
Okay. So what you should do next time, Avi, is because this is a fantastic topic and I think a lot of people will benefit from this. Next time, when you just open the room, ping Harsha, one of the founders of this group, or there are a few names. If you click on All India Startups, you'll see them. Just ping them and they'll open the room up, because right now only people I think you follow or we follow you, I think, is all that can enter this room. So I think I'm just looking at it at a larger interest. I think more people will benefit out of this.
Thank you, Teja. That's really interesting what you said about the metaverses and upcoming potential in this particular technology. Yeah, so I have plenty of things. So, how do you see in whatever the business you are right now? I can see that you do a couple of things. So, how do you see in your businesses you're gonna see this virtual reality and augmented reality landing in upcoming time?
No, like I said, I think for me, the biggest thing, fintech, of course, and I know Shiva works a lot in fintech, insurance advice, right? Taxation, your accountants, there is just so much that can go virtual. Right now, pretty much most of the virtual environments we've created are 2D or two-dimensional, which means I either connect through chat, some AI helps me map me with the experts that I need or somebody that I need. Uh, and then, I either continue on that platform or move on to another virtual platform like Google Meets or Zoom. But Metaverse can actually take it to unrealistically real levels, right? So I think that's something that I see. I know Shiva will have other implications on fintech, but from fintech perspective, that's all I see. But for me, I will put my bets on education, and I think this is just going to take it to crazily big levels, because if you see what is happening right now, our kids are losing out on about 80% of the learning because schools are online. Because at that age, when they're young, 80% of their learning is actually not in the books or from the teacher. It's from the other students. It's about physically touching things, getting into fights, learning some life skills as they grow up, understanding the value of relationships through their own little childish friendships. All that's gone now with online classes. And I am somewhere hoping that with AI, augmented reality, and metaverse coming in together, I think that's a huge potential I see in edtech as well. So that's my take. Shiva, I'm sure you'll have more to add.
No, I think you're spot on. Right? I mean, absolutely spot on. And what will what will be interesting for all of us to watch for is how can we translate the professional services which happen completely offline today. How can we, build or embed that within the metaverse? Like, you take like really simple examples, ordering food from your nearest restaurant on Swiggy. Can you like put it up on metaverse and really have the experience of the chef making it for you? It might be
Hello.
recorded. It might be something which is already there. Sorry.
Yeah. I wanted to speak because we are working on LLP where we built a voice bot which could say respond in 700 millisecond. So we are built this chatbot for something like a customer care application where inbound and outbound it could respond millions of people at a one time. It won't uh, face any problem. So when you say this, I felt like something like when you want to teach some kids, we can use NLP as well with the metaverse. And we also built something like similar to what you said. We built chatbot for influencer. Now if you see influencer, uh, what happens is they get stressed because of so many messages they get. So we built a chatbot which could help them by automatically respond to the user. So thing new in NLP, and that can be
Razin,
used.
when you say
Yeah,
NLP, are you talking about neuro-linguistic programming, or is there something else?
natural language processing.
Okay, thank you.
We build a chatbot using Rasa, so it will be like real experience, yeah, human speaking kind of thing.
Good to know, Razin. Shiva, you were saying something.
No, I was just adding to what you said. But I think what's really important is India is coming up at a very fast pace when it comes to innovation in companies in Bangalore, Bombay, Hyderabad, Delhi. We are right now at the forefront where other countries will catch up with us, and not just from a quality standpoint, but I think we are more like innovation standpoint, solving real problems and really trying to build that momentum for all of us. Right. So I think. For anybody and everybody, it's a great opportunity. Explore it as much as you can. Do a lot of research, share information, and then what comes out of it, you never know, because there's so much of community building and partnership which is happening, which never happened in the last 40, 50, or 70 years, right? Everybody just built on whatever they believed is the right thing, and there was more on proprietary knowledge, and that propriety is becoming like not just open source, it's becoming public, where everybody can chip into the layers. What you build something, somebody will take it up and add their layer, and somebody will add their layer on top of it. So that gives an opportunity for somebody in like say tier 2, tier 3 city who has access to internet today, who's learning a lot of stuff about all these frontier technologies, can build something on top of it. Right. So I think a lot of professional services will migrate. Obviously, edtech is a big thing. Education is a big thing. Like I said, understanding behavior patterns is a big thing. And then the time it takes to deliver these prototypes is also shrinking very, very fast. So normally whatever would have taken like 12 months or 9 to 12 months can now be done in a very fast period of time. and the talent is growing. So I think we should just encourage whatever is happening, ride the flow, and then look at it from a long-term perspective, not about what you'll get out of it, but what you can give to it, right? So next 10, 20, 30 years, just give whatever you can get good at, and then it will all come back over a period of time. That's more philosophical, but I think the opportunity is there for everybody to capitalize and make it really global, platform. That's up there. But conversations like these actually help all of us come together and really build it.
Actually, I wonder because Shiva said you are working in DeFi and you're working building your own protocol, I guess, on right in DeFi.
No, I'm not building a protocol. I'm building a distributed application. I'm not at that point where we can build a protocol, but I work with most of the protocol providers, which is like Aave or Compound or whatever, right? But I'm not there yet in building our own protocol because the need was not there. But we build an application, a DeFi application, which kind of understands how credit works and how to create liquidity, how to move funds, so to speak.
I mean, I just like to add because getting into DeFi, I mean, if you get into DeFi and understand it, then it becomes easy. But the initial steps of getting into DeFi is very, very tough for common masses. When I speak in rooms, I mean, the most of the questions that I get asked is, "Ki main MetaMask ka kya karoon? How do I get the key?" What I mean, like simple questions. They are like really simple for me, but because I know it. But just to get people on board into DeFi, and once you are there, it's just magic. I mean, everything just opens up for you. But the initial steps, I mean, if that could be streamlined or that could be made like really user friendly, I think the sky is the limit with DeFi. I mean, I remember.
You see, we come from this era where we used to use dial-up modems, to connect to internet. We didn't even know what existed and what can exist. I'm not talking about too long ago, but maybe like 20 years ago. Where people didn't even know what internet is and how can you even connect to internet, what can you share. It's more like consumption, right? People consumed on internet more than they contributed. Right? So we've seen that era of last 2 decades. But now what will happen is there'll be a lot more contribution than consumption. There'll be a lot of creativity. Yeah. As a developer, you need to abstract people from the MetaMask and the wallets and whatever. It's our job to abstract people from all of that and tell them what is the service they are getting out of the box. And if you can deliver on that promise, not on W2 but on W3, I think that there's so much of opportunity and scale and growth and creativity, which can foster a lot of things, not just fintech, but people will get opportunity to see. India, for example, has got so many artifacts, right? People are women entrepreneurs. They create so many. I mean, the number of artisans in the country, the people who really can do a lot of creation, they don't get value for their time. Right? Most important is time. All of us have only limited time, right? But the value creation for that time is not there. But with AR, VR, and Metaverse, if we can convert that value, then that will flow to the next generation and people will understand how technology can impact their livelihood. So there are a lot of things. Introduction is one thing, education and creating a discipline is one thing. But like I keep saying, all conversations like this will yield into something in future. And think about it like a 5-10 year old plan. Don't think कि हाँ ठीक है मैं 3 साल में कुछ कर लूँगा, something will happen and you'll have the wealth for it. But it will anyway happen. But join the journey, be part of so many conversations that you become the subject matter expert, to talk about it and really embrace it the way it comes up. Avi, back to you.
Thank you, Shiva. I think, yeah, you really well explained the finance aspect of this and a lot of different things as well, like how creators can take advantage of this new platforms and thing. So I have one big question to you guys, whoever wants to answer it. So one thing which basically relates to metaverse the most is the way we travel. And do you think the virtual reality and augmented reality going to change or impact any amount of effect on the global travel and the people, the amount of flights globally happening? And is it going to be any worthy of this time? What you guys think?
Okay, I'll take a shot at it. As an avid traveler and somebody who travels a lot, much like Shiva here. Uh, can travel be replaced by metaverse? I don't think so. Right? Look, I mean, without sounding naughty here, I'll say, right? I can meet a girl online. I can fall in love with her online, but eventually, it has to manifest in a physical world, right? But I'll tell you how. At least I look forward to travel industry changing through metaverse is the experiences that travel agents, the airlines, the hotels and the resorts and all the stuff. It can become a nice complementary addition to their offerings. But eventually, will I build a hotel, in Maldives and expect people to pay me, staying at their homes? I can do that on YouTube, right? I mean, why would I want to experience Maldives, and the ocean and all that sitting at my home, because there's a pleasure of actually being there and seeing it with my own eyes. So it's interesting, but with the pandemic situations, perhaps it's a good fun, like playing PUBG and assuming that you are that warrior killing people. It's fun, but will it replace the travel industry? I don't think so. But can that be a complementary offering to the travel industry to enhance travel industry? Perhaps yes. Right? Would I like to see my sorry about that? Would I like to see my Airbnb before I go stay in there and experience it? Sure. But can I actually stay in that particular place when I'm traveling? No, I cannot. So I could be quite naive in this with my limited knowledge of
So
metaverse,
let's say a lot of
but I'm just
travel which relates to business meetings, a lot of travel which relates to, let's say, even going to work, or a lot of travel which also relates to the concert, the events, and everything. So, do you think these kind of things can be completely replaced, or even majorly replaced using this virtual reality technology?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think today the ones who need this the most, like what Shiva was saying, are the artists, the content creators, right? Can I, as a music band, can I enhance, the experience of people actually sitting at their homes and attending a concert, and if that allows me to charge them more per ticket, why not, right? Of course, the fun of actually being in a concert is different, but I think it just opens up amazing avenues for content creators. Office meetings, perhaps. I have an unpopular opinion on that. Uh, I'm not too sure how uh, uh, Metaverse can do something that Zoom cannot right now from a purely transactional work relationship perspective. Do I need to interact in a 3D with my team members? Perhaps not. But I know my team members say, well, boss, you are in Bangalore, we are in Hyderabad. It'll be great if we can connect in the metaverse and do our appraisals, even though you're in another city.
Well,
So I think the verdict on
sometimes,
that is out there.
yeah, yeah. So sometimes the platforms are built in such a way and they're marketed within such communities that they sort of take a certain theme. If I talk about Zoom, yes, of course, Zoom can do whatever metaverses can do, right? Without going 3D, without requirement to go 3D. But let's talk about the same combination of Zoom versus Clubhouse. Can we do this kind of conversation on Zoom? No, because we don't technically know each other contacts and everything, right? To be able to conduct this on Zoom. But Zoom right now, I'm sort of looking forward to see more communities, in which communities of all kind, like entrepreneurs community and everything. Previously, if we have to do it using Zoom or anything like events or session like this, we have to sort of subscribe to all these business channels like BNI and everything which is running, and sort of connect to you guys using that, right? But now that is being more accessible using Twitter, using Clubhouse and everything. And I think their metaverse will sort of play, because it is more interactive. You can do more things within those close communities, and there could be a lot of monetization, could be a lot of interactions, sessions, and yeah.
I'll just add to that, right? And maybe Teja can add to it also, right? I think the first problem metaverse or the new found technology will solve is authenticity of an individual or an entity or whatever that call is, right? So, let's say I want to travel to uh, Switzerland or wherever, right? And I want to book an Airbnb. Now, I really, before I get there, I want to know not just by the feedback and review process which Airbnb provides. I really want to know that the authenticity of the person is is recorded on a transaction based on past history, which nobody can, tamper with, right? So I think that's one problem which they are all trying to solve, whether it is artists or whether it is professionals or whoever. You really want to know the authenticity of the person, that they are who they are or the entity is who they are, and they can do a lot of claim to fame once we know that authenticity. So it will narrow down my exposure if I'm willing to commit, let's say, um, whether it is travel or whether it's consuming services or professional or whatever, right? I know the person is who they are, and there's a ledger against which I can validate, from, and that is only possible in W3 today. Uh, in terms of technology being programmable, that's one thing which it's trying to solve. The second thing is whether it is recruitment or whether it is so many other services, right? Zoom call or otherwise. Uh, Validating that I'm actually talking to the right set of audience. Today we go through so many webinars. People just invite us to be part of those webinars. We really don't know the audience. We don't know the jury. We don't know the panel. But with the newfound interest on W3, I think that will solve that problem. That I'm actually participating in a certain category of people, and they are who they are, and they know what they're doing. Right. So that's one major thing which it will solve. And it goes back to your question. Forget BNI. Even if you're part of BNI, right? BNI will give you an experience based on their onboarding process of an entrepreneur or a startup or a larger company or a medium company. But till you do transactions with them, you really don't know, right? And today we use handles of Twitter or Clubhouse or whatever, in the hope that somebody who's actually coming and talking about their own integrity and what they're doing, you just go by that direct relationship. But with W3, all that will go back, right? If I'm claiming that I'm who I am, it's verified and valid, and only if you are who you are, you can actually enter into the conversation. So that is one area which I believe we'll get into. Second thing is on the travel side of it. Let's say the best hotel gives me the best price, and I want to get into that by going like what Teja said, right? It will add to the complementary value that if I want to go to Kashmir, I know that this hotel has actually provided services to so many people, and I can validate it myself, not going through a lot of onboarding process, but just by having my own, limited ability to figure things out. I think there'll be a lot of contribution and consumption which will happen on the W3 side of it. Not W2, it becomes really difficult. There's an onboarding, you need to validate who I am. There's a process of verifying KYC, hundreds of things, right? But I think W3 will solve the identity problems and the individuality problems and the entity related problems, right? And then it will evolve. It will become more creative and creative and creative. Layers of innovation will come on top of it. Back to you.
Yeah, you said it really correctly, and I would love to add one more point that, of course, the interactivity is going to change and interactivity is going to be more immersive. But what we need to care about as a creators of these platforms is that the people who sort of harass us, the people who misuse sort of the connection and everything, they are also going to get the opportunity to harass us in more immersive ways, in more realistic ways. So that is the various ways of giving us power to prevent ourselves, whether it's financial scams, whether it's from harassment and bullying. These need to be taken care of as well by the creators, and these need to be thought very well when we are talking about W3 platforms.
I agree, and I just wanted to add something. And I know the new speakers. This is my last point. I mean, again, an unpopular opinion, but at a very basic code level, right? Clubhouse is just another feature, right? Of course, they've done it well. Of course, they've targeted and captured the audience as well. But it's just an algorithmic issue with the other social media, right? Where unless you're connected to a person, you really don't know, and you can meet new people. Clubhouse has somehow figured a way around that, where new people, in spite of whether they're in your network or circle or not, you can connect with. But that's just a feature, right? So I'm not going to be terribly kicked about W3 kind of changing all of that. But in terms of what you have said, I said, and you've said before I came up to the speaker panel, Avi, there are definitely benefits, but yeah, the risk is there. Any social media, any place where you're putting yourself up there, I think the risk is there. But I'm told W3 solves a lot more problems. I am not the tech person here, so I don't know what new problems it'll create. But I'm told a lot of these security issues, a lot of these authentication issues will be eliminated through W3. But hey, people always figure out a jugaad to scam people. So we'll leave it open.
You must have heard about the callers which call as the army people, and they say, okay, trust me, just I want to purchase it, and they send you a receipt instead of they send you a receive notification instead of sending money, right? So similarly in the web3 and metaverses, people are gonna be meeting you dressed as army officers and everything, and you sort of by your subconscious level you're gonna believe them more, trust them more, and then they can misuse this trust and then manipulate. Because manipulating on a call is going to be much more effective when they do it on in front of you within these virtual reality metaverses. So I'm not really sure, but yeah, we need to prevent. We need a prevention from this as well.
They're actually doing it right now. I mean, the amount of scams and rug pulls and these people out there in the Web3 world, it's just huge. And, just to tell everybody, if anybody asks you to validate your MetaMask, consider it a scam. What they actually do is, they'll come, because if you're on Discord, there are like lots of people, they will spam you with messages. And once you connect to them, and they'll send you a link asking you to validate your MetaMask or something through backs or something. It's like too much technical jargon. It's a scam. Don't fall for it. Don't ever, ever, ever give out your private keys on anywhere.
Hashir, you can never build a code for human stupidity, isn't it? If you're stupid enough to share your password.
I just want to add for what Teja said, where physical appearance is not possible, but we can make you appear over there. If you are in Bangalore and you want to be appear in Hyderabad, we can make it. I'll tell how we can do. This is a ongoing research happening in different company, where one company is building where it is reconstructing the whole body by camera, and it is making the model to speak using lip GAN and NLP. And if suppose this is not happening, but if hologram works out, then we can fix that your model into that hologram, so you can appear over there as a real human. But physically appearing is not possible, like transporting you from one place to another place.
Damn, I was thinking I could do that.
No, that is not possible. But like
I know.
virtually you can be there over there and you can speak over there. This is possible if hologram technology gets successful. But regarding building a 3D model of your body, it's very simple. Computer vision application can do that. But you need to stand rigid body. But if you are moving, then it won't be happening. But rigid body can be converted into 3D model. Then we can make you appear in mobile phone itself over there right now. Because deepfake is something which is changing your face thing. This is not deepfake. This is like real human, your body itself.
So I have a question for Avi, Hashir, whoever has done this, Razim and Shiva, all of you. Does this mean the demand for more IoT devices will increase? Because from what Razim is saying, it's very hardware dependent.
Yes. camera dependent. It will be sensor and camera. There is a company called Naked Lab, where they have smart mirror, which they build a body using smart mirror, and they precisely measures the body size and all. And they are into fitness area, where human can see
Yeah,
how
so
the body is growing, how
I
it is
also
reducing.
interviewed I also interviewed a really good guy, and he has built this technology which I have linked called Portal. And the whole purpose of this is basically eliminating the travels, being able, if as a celebrity, being able to attend concert anywhere in the world and at several locations at once, and being able to do all kind of non teleportation kind of stuff. So yeah, this guy has built this particular screen. It is added in such a way that it's capture one at one place and transmitted to another place. And recently he got funding around $12 million as well. So he's a really really amazing product.
Does that mean it will change e-commerce as well then? Because I know we've been talking about
Yes,
hotels,
yes,
fintech.
yes. Yes. It will affect the e-commerce, especially in fashion industry, where we are also working on that fashion industry, building a 3D model, where we can find the skin color of the body, and we can recommend them a best suited style using algorithm, and user can measure the body and fit the fit the sorry user can actually measure the body and select the right product what they want to wear. So this will affect e-commerce industry, where now if the user buy a product from e-commerce and it won't fit body, it will return back to them, so that returning ordering thing, it will be reduced.
Very nice. Interesting.
We are still thinking in terms of, because the generation we are, because